Yeah, game.
All right. The floor is yours, Miggy.
Thanks, Patch. Okay, wait. Let me share my screen. Okay, wait. Hold on. All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon. I'm happy to see that there are a lot of participants coming in, and it's always something that I'm very thankful for. The way that I like to think about it is you guys are committing time to listening to Patch and and I really just want to be able to make it worth your while. So hopefully in these next 2.5 hours or so, I'm able to impart something very helpful that will help you, further your causes and improve how you market to your customers. Okay, so the title of the talk is From Story to Strategy, and my whole agenda here is to show you how you can draft your marketing plan for 2021 using only 10 slides or less, depending on how active you want to be. Okay. So welcome to the training. My name again is Miggy. I'm the managing partner at Huskee. So if you want to follow some of the other content that I make, you can follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn. It's mostly memes and making fun of stuff, but from time to time I'll have something serious. So yeah, I think that's worth it, naman. It's worth the follow for those few times that I'm serious. Um, I know that this recording is going to be made available, but if at any time you want to take a screenshot or take a photo, I'm letting you, or I'm allowing you to do so. Just so go ahead and feel free to do that. And yeah, really, again, I just want to say thank you so much. There's just so many things that I know that you could have done with your time, but the fact that you guys chose to spend it with Patch and I, it's just it's something that I'm very grateful for. So thank you. Now, this session that I'm about to give, it's actually something that I did a while back under our Bounce Back Blueprint. So this is an initiative of my company a few months ago. Um, and we had over 300 downloads, basically 300 businesses of 300 businesses around the country downloaded this blueprint that we created for them. Now, the bounce back blueprint, just to give you an overview, it's an easy to follow framework to help you navigate through the uncertain times. So we actually launched this around, I think it was around April or May, when things were really uncertain, and the mindset was, okay, like how can we help our clients navigate through these next few months, and how can we help others, right? So we came up with this blueprint. It follows the inbound marketing methodology. If you're not familiar with inbound marketing, I'm going to have a very lively discussion about it later. And yeah, it's essentially a set of strategies, guides, and cheat sheets to help you rebuild your marketing efforts. So whether you're starting or you want to be able to rebuild or maybe pivot a little bit, there's always there's something in that kit or that blueprint that I know that's going to help you out for 2021. I'm actually using it for Huskee, especially specifically our clients. But again, I thought it would be helpful to share it with other people. Because as we go through, as I went through our webinars back then, and as I went through all of these consultations that we were giving, I realized that marketing strategy seemed intimidating for many people, and it really just came from the fact that they didn't know where to start. Right, so hopefully this session or the blueprint that we have on our website, it also kind of helps you out there. On the blueprint, you'll have all of these free PDFs and all these guides. So anything from a worksheet to our favorite resources to our favorite case studies, that's all there. And it's still very applicable to the situation now. So yeah, if I didn't do a very good job in explaining anything this afternoon, it's most likely in the blueprint that we have. So yeah, feel free to download it. And again, yeah, over 300 businesses have downloaded the blueprint since we launched it. It's been really fun. It's been really fun to see so many businesses use the blueprint and take whatever value that they can take from it. So yeah, feel free to download it on our website. Still there. It's at huskydigital.com/bounceback2020. It's going to be there for quite some time because again, some people are still downloading it, and I still get messages from some people thanking me for it. So yeah, it's gonna be there. It's free. Don't worry about it. And yeah, just feel free to download it. Okay, game. So just want to give you an expectation of the webinar, just so that you can have the right mindset coming in. We really just have three core things that we're going to be doing. So first, I want to be able to explain the components of a marketing strategy. Second, discuss also who kind of needs to be involved in the planning. And then third, run you through the whole process. So I'm going to actually show you the deck or the set of questions that we use whenever we have strategy sessions with our team or with our clients. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just fix my. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I want to talk very briefly about what inbound marketing is. You've heard it a couple of times from Patch and I just want to be able to define it just so that you understand how it is we come up with our strategies. So inbound marketing is a business methodology, and it's all about attracting customers by creating valuable content from them. So it's a two-way thing. I want to attract customers, right? Everybody does. That's the essential goal of marketing, getting customers to recognize who I am or be aware of who I am. And the second part, and I feel is what is most important, is creating valuable content for them, right? So content or valuable content or important content is what I use to attract customers to my business. And the idea is really to make your marketing and sales as personalized as possible. And it's all about creating for your customers and not for yourself. I see this mistake done by many prospects or many businesses where they create content that they want to see, not necessarily content that other people would like to see. And inbound marketing is just, it's a way of thinking to help you really zero in on your customers as the central figure of your marketing channels. Now, I want to show you the opposite, which is outbound marketing. So outbound marketing, some examples include sending out cold emails, handing out flyers, creating content that your customers don't want, selling what they don't need, or spammy LinkedIn messages. Okay, so an outbound message would look something like this. Hey, look, I'm a complete stranger. I'm selling this product that I'm not even sure you need, but I'll sell it to you anyway. Please trust me, even if you just met me. Please trust me with your money and refer me to your loved ones too. Okay, so whenever we get these messages, oftentimes it's not as honest as this, but it almost feels like that. When we get these messages, this is almost always the reaction, right? We kind of squint and we're kind of wondering, okay, where is this coming from? You don't even know me. I'm not even in the market for this product. Okay, and I want you guys to really think about this. When was the last time you were absolutely excited to refer that social media salesman, your family or your friends? Okay, so it's that random business or random person who messages you or who sends you a PM selling you something. Okay, when was the last time that you were absolutely excited? I don't think anyone is ever absolutely excited when that social media salesman comes knocking. But what's funny is it sounds completely ridiculous, but we're all guilty of that. If you're in the marketing or the sales area, or if that's your function, you're almost always guilty, right, of hard selling and presenting a product or a service that you're not necessarily sure if the receiving end is actually in the market for. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, I still make that mistake even if I've been doing this for a while now. But again, the goal here is just to get that mindset out of your your headspace and to move into an environment where you're primarily doing inbound marketing instead of outbound. Okay, so really, inbound marketing is just putting empathy first. Okay, it's about delivering opportunities that can have a positive impact on your customers, and it's not so much just selling the product. It's delivering an opportunity to learn, to be entertained, and really putting empathy first. Okay. And one thing that I would just like to add also, it's that it's not enough to get people to your website. Okay, so that shouldn't just be the end goal. That okay, I have to create something valuable enough so that they go to my website. Okay, that shouldn't be the end goal. You have to continue to help, support, and empower them well after they become a customer. Because as you're going to see in these next few slides, a customer from when they're a prospect to when they become an actual customer, it's really important that you have activities for each of those each of those stages of your customer journey. And really, that's how your business is going to grow. Okay, by keeping your marketing, your sales, and your service functions or teams constantly focused on how to help current and future customers. Okay, that's the mindset. Okay, notice that the mindset is not selling your product. Okay, the mindset is helping your current and future customers. And the helping, it's not just fluffy stuff that I just say. It's a very practical approach also, which again I'm going to be discussing in a while. Okay, so what does the inbound strategy look like? And again, this is something that you've probably come across, you're probably already doing, but you don't realize that it's called inbound marketing. Okay, so inbound marketing is making discovery calls before you sell to a prospect. It's creating educational content. It's producing inspiring videos, very similar to what Patch just showed us earlier. It's creating surveys and feedback forms, and it's tailoring your quotations. Okay, so very subtle differences, right? These are, again, I'm pretty sure you guys do, if not all, some of these activities. And I want you guys to recognize that those are the activities that really drive results. Okay, it's these inbound marketing activities that really make a difference. And instead of the hard selling approach, you sound something more like this, right? Hey, you know what? I'm writing about this problem that people like you might be experiencing. Is there anything that I can do to shed some light on it for you? And how can I be of service for you to you at the moment? Okay, so you're asking a different question, you have a different tone, and believe me, it's a very subtle difference. It's a very subtle difference, but it makes the biggest of impacts later down the road. And it's really what will unlock your social media marketing strategy for for this quarter and beyond. Another way I like to look at it is marketing and sales managers should be like doctors. Okay, as a doctor, you diagnose first and you learn about the situation before you suggest remedies. Okay, so you don't walk into a doctor's office and he doesn't just sell you medicine, right? That's not a great way to get healthy or to get out of a sickness. You'd want your doctor to really listen to your situation. You'd want your doctor to really understand the history of this ailment that you're having and then recommend something. And that should be the same mindset as marketers and sales managers when they're offering a product. You don't just offer a product. You learn, you diagnose, you understand. And then once you see the entire picture, that's when you tailor something or you cater to your product. You cater your product or service to your customer. And really, at the end of the day, it just boils down to value and trust. Okay, you have to be able to ask. Customers have to be able to discern: will this purchase bring value to my life, and can I trust this business to deliver? Okay, those are the questions that they're going to be answering me, if not consciously, subconsciously, and you again just trying to understand your customer and trying to be in their position, you're going to have to realize that they're asking those questions. Okay, will this purchase from this marketer, will this make an impact in my life? Will it solve my problem? Can I trust this business to deliver what it says it's going to deliver? And when that's your mindset, when those are the questions that you're trying to answer, your strategy and your marketing follows easier. Okay, and in my experience so far, I feel like this is the most difficult thing to change. Because again, you're going to learn in a bit that coming up with a strategy, it's fairly simple. It's asking a couple of questions. It's coming up with some ideas, and then that's that, right? But if you don't have the right mindset coming into that session, nothing good will come out of that session. Okay, it's all the tools that we're going to be discussing this afternoon. It's just a tool. So if you don't know how to maximize these tools, if you don't know how to think about these tools, nothing that we're going to talk about matters. Okay, so inbound marketing really, it gives you a framework or just a way of thinking to help you deliver that value and trust, right? Because your mindset is, I'm trying to prove the value of my product, I'm trying to prove the value that it will bring in your life, and I'm trying to make you trust me, right? I'm trying to earn your trust. Okay? And when you have the inbound marketing mindset, when that's embedded into the frameworks of your company, okay, it becomes easier to deliver both value and trust. Okay. So, side question. All right, Miggy, sounds great, right? But how will this generate more business, right? How will this generate more income? And that's always the leading question when I talk to a prospect or to a client. Okay, that content marketing inbound sounds great, right? But how does this translate to the bottom line of my business, which is generating revenue so that I can pay for my expenses? Now, I want you guys to understand that for me at least, the top three channels for marketing or marketing sources are the following. The first one is a great customer experience. Okay, and I'm not just talking product experience, right? So not just how good your product is, but how great the overall experience is from when they first discovered you to when they were discerning on purchasing from you, and when they finally do, when they finally try out your product. That whole thing is your greatest marketing asset, a great customer experience, and no amount of digital marketing is going to replace that. Second is actually a referral from a happy customer. So notice that I didn't even put digital marketing in these first two marketing sources. Okay, and because again, at least the way that I see it, digital marketing really is just it's just a spotlight. It just amplifies what's already there. So if you have a great customer experience that people would like to refer, then digital marketing makes sense. But if you have a horrible customer experience, if you're a business that nobody wants to refer, digital marketing is only just going to amplify that. Okay, so and again, this is the mindset. Okay, when the mindset is I want to be able to create a great customer experience from start to finish, okay, the digital marketing comes easy because already internally, everyone in the team or everyone in the company is already thinking, how can I create a great customer experience? How can I create a great interactions with customers or prospects that they will happily refer? Okay, one tenant of inbound marketing is looking away from the business funnel or the marketing funnel that we're very familiar with to a flywheel, which is the one that you see on the right. So the one on the left is your standard marketing funnel, right? Um, Customers will go through your marketing channels. They'll speak to someone from sales. They'll make that purchase. They will talk to customer service if they need additional help, and then that's usually it. They become an afterthought. Once you take their money, that's it. Buy customer, okay, which is again, if we're going back to the mindset that we're trying to develop, that's not the right way to go. You want to move towards the flywheel method, which is having the customers at the center and having your customers power your entire business from start to finish, right? So um, more than a fancy graph or a fancy diagram, inbound marketing really is just the mindset of putting customers first, wherever they're at in the journey, whether they're a first time customer or they're a long time customer. You have the mindset where I want to be able to give you a great experience from start to finish across my marketing, sales, and service. Okay, so the equation is really simple, and I actually wish that they taught this more in school. Happy customers plus an amazing product equals a profitable business. It's really just that simple. The more you have happy customers and they're happily using your products, and those happy customers will happily refer other customers, and it becomes a profitable business in the long run. And if you again just look at the success that you've had so far, right? So I'm sure everyone in this room has had varying success with their business. You're going to realize that this stands true. That when your customers are happy, and then you add a great product because you really thought about the product and the experience, and you add those two things, profitability is almost always inevitable. Okay, almost always. There are exceptions, of course, but this is more often not true. Okay, so one thing that I like to hear is, okay, Miggy, this sounds so cliche. This is nothing new to me. You're just, you sound like a big ball of fluff and cliches, right? And to me, my reply is always, yeah, it should be cliche because being respectful and kind and mindful of who you're speaking to should be common sense. Okay, it's um, you might be expecting that social media marketing strategy should just be, it should feel like a magic wand, and suddenly like, wow, your life is changed. But in reality, it just goes down back to the very fundamental truth that we want to be respected, and we want to receive kindness. And as a marketer, as a salesman, or as a business owner, if that's not your mindset with your customers, your business doesn't get very far. So yes, everything that I'm going to be saying right now or in these next few minutes, it's going to be a cliche, only because it should be common sense. And the fact that we have to keep on talking about it really just puts the spotlight that there is an issue, that many businesses don't practice that. Yeah, so like again, like I said, many businesses, it goes out the window when it's time to market and sell. So as we're talking now, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, of course, Miggy, we have to be respectful, we have to be kind, we have to be empathetic. Yeah, duh, right? But when you wear your business owner hat, when you wear your marketer hat, I see these concepts go out the window. And I just want to bring that to your attention so that when you are making these marketing and sales decisions, you're aware, right? You're mindful that you have a tendency to set aside the empathy, and you want to continue using that empathy even when you're making your marketing decisions. So yes, that's the context, and it's very hard to accept, and admittedly very hard to practice. It takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of discipline, but I've really seen it work. I've seen how when you put empathy first, when you put your customers first in your entire business operations, it really does make a difference. And mind you, I don't think that this is a marketing thing. Empathy shouldn't be a marketing problem. It should be a business problem. And when that's not being driven by top management or the top decision makers, it's definitely not going to trickle down to marketing. Okay, so if you are a top decision maker, you're going to have to realize that you set that tone. Right? You're going to have to set the tone of empathy, of respectfulness, of kindness, and that's going to trickle down into your operations. If you're not a decision maker, it would be great to have these discussions with your decision makers because your work gets affected. And when they're not driving that agenda, it's very hard for you to drive the agenda of empathy that we just talked about. Okay, so hopefully I got you and you want to learn how it works. And as I'm about to show you, it's not just, it's just not fluffy stuff. It's very practical. And when you see it in action, you're going to realize how many times these kinds of marketing strategies have moved you to take action. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite examples. I share this all the time, and I'm gonna share a video. So I'll let the video do the explaining.
The Philippines has a deficit of 17,000 teachers, which is one of the main reasons for the continued poor academic performance of our children in public schools. This is why PBED, together with AusAid, formulated Step Up, a scholarship program that equips professionals with the skills to teach in Philippine public schools. The challenge was, how do you get thousands of people to switch professions into teaching? Our answer? By targeting those already predisposed to a career in education and showing them the ultimate reward of teaching: fulfillment.
At the end of everything, and God asks me, what did you do with your life? I only have 2 words to answer: I teach, or I taught.
We got celebrities to volunteer and write letters to teachers who inspired them. And then, we surprised those teachers with the letters. A video campaign designed more to compel than to overwhelm, to inspire than to inform, to motivate than to instruct.
Hello.
Mr. Abad.
Speaking. Who's this?
This is Gino speaking.
Gino, baby. How are you?
I'm very good. How's everything? How are you?
Oh, Mrs. Abad just finished reading your letter to us, and I never thought that I would have such an impact on you.
We enhanced the campaign with content that inspired aspiring teachers, and with simplified infographics to draw in new leads. These activities were strengthened by print ads and a newsletter initiative. After 4 months, the campaign reached over 8 million people and generated 3,200 applicants, 125% of the initial target. But above all, for a few moments, it directed the regular noise of social media into a collective thank you to some of our nation's greatest unsung heroes, our dear teachers.
Right. So, like I said, there's a lot of practical things to take away from the whole inbound approach. And, just to show you, I'm going to cut it up into different parts. So, when they first launched this campaign, they didn't, push the whole agenda of selling the program right away. Obviously, that was their goal to get as many applications as possible. But just as a starter, the first thing that they did was inspiring content. So they turned all of these strangers who weren't familiar with the program or the campaign into visitors, right? So people who would end up looking at their content, looking at their social media accounts. So they were attracting all of these customers or these prospects rather. Sorry. And to further that, they also invested in these billboards that had the same messaging, talking about the impact of teachers and really just talking about the solution, right, to the problem that they're trying to solve. Okay, so no hard selling, not talking about the program, just talking about the truth, right? Just talking about the situation. And from everyone who watched those videos, the people who really resonated with the campaigns, they continued to see content from Step Up Philippines in the form of infographics and social media content. And the people who were really moved to take into to turn their inspiration into action, they signed up, they filled up a form, or they continue to learn about the program through the many channels that Step Up Philippines was active in. So they mentioned the social media accounts, the social media campaigns, and the newsletter initiatives as a way of really drawing in these leads and turning them into customers. Okay, so when you break that down also further, they have a website where you can apply. There's a lot of information there, and all of these leads eventually turned into customers for Step Up Philippines. Okay, and they didn't end there. Okay, so they didn't just turn their customers into customers. They wanted these customers to become promoters, right? So they ended up creating all of these other initiatives where they got their customers to speak, right, to share, to talk about their experiences, everything that makes them feel really good. And again, all of this goes back to the business of Step Up Philippines, or to their whole agenda. Okay, so that's one example. Another practical example that I really like, it's this series from HubSpot. So HubSpot, just a quick background, they're a software company based in the US. They sell marketing, sales, and service software or tools, and they're actually the ones that coined the term inbound marketing. So when the pandemic happened, when that was at the thick of things, they launched this initiative called Adapt 2020. It was a very simple educational series where they help out marketers and other business owners, again, also just kind of navigate through the uncertain times. And they follow the same framework. So they created a landing page on their website where customers and non-customers alike were able to go to and just interact with the content. They even have this really cool tool, which they still have. You guys should check it out. They were able to benchmark data from their marketing and sales groups around the world to show you what are the trends of email marketing, what are the trends for social media, for Facebook ad spending, etc. And they gave this all out for free. Mind you, they didn't charge anything to be able to use these because their whole agenda was help first, educate first, and then the business will follow. Okay. All of these people who were interested in the content, they were moved into from visitors to leads, right? So they did this in the many webinars and learning series that they had. And then these people who signed up obviously got all of the emails and all of the other information that HubSpot was sharing. And even what I actually like about this example was even until the end of the customer journey, there was still a lot of educating and a lot of informational content and not just the selling. And then lastly, just to wrap up this close part, they even created promos around their products, right? So again, a great example of how the empathy moves from marketing to product to customer service. That they walked the talk basically, and in a very simply, they gave some discounts for their current prospects or people who would want to explore HubSpot but aren't able to pay the full amount for it. And yeah, they continue to delight customers. So for us being a partner, we got a ton of support. We got a ton of resources. We got a ton of frameworks that we were also able to use for our clients. And it's been very great, right, to see that they're taking the lead rather on this whole initiative. And again, practicing what they preach. So they preach inbound marketing, the same way that we try to do, and they're really doing it, from all the way to the beginning down to their current customers. And now, me being a happy customer, I promote them, right, and I'm happy to do that because I really feel the concern that they have. So when you tie that all together, you have four stages that you really need to be able to be mindful of in terms of your marketing strategy. So all the way from attract to your delight stage, you need to have inbound marketing or the inbound approach really embedded there. Okay, so if you want to segment that further, you have your attract and your convert stage. That's supposed to be with marketing. That's marketing's responsibility. Your close stage, where leads become customers. Obviously, this is where your sales should be, and your delight is your customer service or your post sales service if you guys have any. Okay, so what I want you guys to realize here is you're not really changing what you're marketing. Okay, it's still your same product, it's still your same service. You're only changing how you do it. Again, with the mindset that I want to be helpful from start to finish. Okay, I don't want to just be helpful when you become a customer. Okay, I want that from the very first time that we interact, you already feel the value adding mindset that I have. Okay, and you're not changing what you're marketing. Again, you're just changing how you do it. And the key principles really here are it's personalized, right? You really want to make it in a way where they feel like you understand where they're coming from. And at the same time, you want to make it systematic. You want to be able to ensure that it's a repeatable process and it can scale. And really, the greatest challenge for 2020 and beyond in terms of your marketing strategy, and this is the challenge that I want to pose to you guys as we move on to our strategy framework, is how can you scale your empathy? Okay, so I'm sure many of you being part of Patch's community, I'm sure a lot of you are oozing with empathy and kindness and respectfulness. Okay, so and I know a lot of the things that I just said these last few minutes resonate a lot. But now the challenge is, okay, this one-to-one feeling that we have right now, this one-to-one conversation where I'm imparting value and you're receiving it, and we're gonna have this really nice discussion in a bit. How can we scale this, okay, to 100 people, to 1,000 people, to hundreds of thousands of prospects? Okay, that's a challenge, and you're not going to be able to go from 0 to 100,000 overnight. You're going to have to build towards it, but that has to start with the right mindset by building the right foundations for your business. And I've seen this, guys, and I've seen this. If your business is not ready to scale the empathy or the kindness or the motivation, sorry, the motivation to be helpful and to educate, it's gonna be harder to do that once your business gets bigger. Okay, so from this level, wherever you're at, especially if you're starting, challenge yourself to look towards the future and ask yourself, okay, how can I scale the empathy in my business? Right? How can I still have this one-to-one feeling that we have right now, or that I'm having with my first few customers? How can I do that in a larger scale? Okay, and once you figure that out, and I'm the happy, I've happily seen this with many of my clients. It does so many tremendous things. It opens up so many opportunities for your business, and it's also the reason why I do what I do. I really like the initiative that Patch has, and the project that he's working, the projects that they're working on, because I resonate with it a lot. That I'm in this business of marketing, not just to make a profit, not just to sell or to make money, but to really impart that if we had more businesses that were more empathetic, right, from top to bottom, left to right, we're not going to be having some of these problems that we have. Okay, so and what gets me through the difficult times as a marketer Because the thing with marketing is once you start doing it, you can't stop. What really gets me going is the fact that when we do really push the agenda of empathy into our marketing, into our products, and into our customer service, it really does make a difference. And that's why I'm very passionate about it because I've seen it work so many times in so many industries across companies of all different sizes. And it's a subtle difference at first. It's a subtle difference at first, but you add all of those small things, and then throughout a period of time, you're gonna look back and you're gonna say like, wow, that really made a difference. The mindset of being customer centric, of being empathy first, it makes a difference. Okay. So before we jump into the strat session, I think Patch, we can have we'll have room for some questions, and we can have like a short break also. So I think we've been running for about, what is it now? About 30-40 minutes, and yeah, and it gets tiring. So yeah, let's have a okay. Let's do this. Let's have a short 2 minute break, and while others have a break, I can answer some of the questions that are popping out here also. Okay, so 2 minutes, guys. I see the chat.
Hi, Miggy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So far, yeah, for everybody right now who are online or watching, how has the workshop been so far? Actually, I have a
Go.
question, Miggy. Um, I know. How would you differentiate inbound marketing from outbound marketing?
Okay. Sorry, I don't think I got to I don't think I got to stress this earlier, but it's not it's not to say that outbound marketing doesn't work. They both complement one another. But the problem that I see is people are either stuck with an outbound only approach or an outbound heavy approach. When in reality, I think it has to go the other way. You have to have an inbound heavy approach that's supplemented with outbound activities. So very basic. Inbound marketing is getting people to come to you guys organically, right? Because you become a hub for information, you become a hub for entertainment. You're first known in the minds of a customer that okay, when I wanna learn about business, I wanna go to SparkFest or the Spark Project. When I wanna learn about marketing, I wanna go to Huskee Digital. And again, very subtle difference, right? They look at me not for my marketing services, but for my marketing knowledge. It's a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference. And that's what inbound is about. You get people to come to you organically because their curiosity is going to lead to you. Okay. And you're going to do that through some of the content ideas that we're going to discuss in a bit. Now, outbound is the other way. It's you chasing customers. And this is again where, I mean, it makes a lot of sense in some degree, right? And it's what got businesses far at the very beginning. But in an environment where customers have the power now, where at any given time I can pick up my phone, I can do a search, I can read reviews, I can learn more about the product or a service. The advantage is no longer who sells the best. Right? The advantage is who can educate the best or who can inspire the best. And that's the difference. You still need both, but the way that I see it, it's an 80-20 kind of split. Right? 80% of the activities go to your inbound, and the 20% go to the outbound. And you should flip that if you have it the other way around.
Okay, we have a few questions here in the Q&A box. I don't know if you see it, Miggy.
Okay.
Do you see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's answer one first. From Sylvia, how do you measure or quantify empathy? Okay, great question. Patch, this is what we were just talking about yesterday. Yung being able to measure marketing metrics. So
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia, I would say that there's a quantitative aspect of it and there's a qualitative aspect of it. So the quantitative, for me, it's just the hard numbers. How many people are reading my blog posts? How many people are clicking my ads? How many people are watching my videos? Because for me, the more people consume my content, the more people are able to, deep dive into what I create. it's great for me, because I know that's it's working, because my metrics or the ones that I'm tracking are working. The qualitative really comes from the one-to-one discussions that we have with prospects, or the discussions that you see happening online. So one of my favorite things to see with a marketing activity is, let's say we launch the video for a client, and one of the things that I love is when people start tagging their friends or start commenting on the post or saying that they can relate or saying that's really cool. Those are the qualitative things that just push our agenda forward. Okay, so it's a nice balance. I lean a little bit more towards the hard numbers, because when I report to a client, I want to show actual metrics and not just what I think is good. But then I tell the other side of the story also, where I show them people who are sharing it. I show them the comments that are being made, because that's what puts context into the numbers that I report. Okay. From Lisa. So, what are some examples of how a business has failed to integrate empathy in their services? The most glaring thing for me is just if there's just a salesman mindset. Okay, where, for example, when you're talking about, okay, how you guys are going to generate revenue for this month, if the discussion is just mostly sales tactics and how to kind of deceive people, or trick people into your website. Those are the small, subtle things that don't really add up for you positively. Okay, and you see it. You see it. It starts with leadership. I tell clients that the lack of empathy is not a marketing problem. It's a business or a leadership problem. Because when that's not being directed from the top, when customer centric strategies across all your business operations, it's not coming from the top, that trickles down to marketing. And I've seen the situations where the marketing team that I'm working with, they're really into the idea, and in fact they hire us because we our ideologies kind of align. But we face an uphill battle when we talk to management, or when we pitch to management, because they don't think the same way. Yeah. So and Lisa, you see this also very subtly again, with how the product is delivered. So one thing that I like to see, and it might be a subtle thing, but there's a difference in the service of some restaurants here in the Philippines, just again generally, versus other restaurants. And for me, that's usually a sign of an empowered team or a manager really pushing that agenda. Okay, so when you look at the failings of a business, I always try to look, okay, like what's the leadership saying? Okay, and oftentimes the product or the service that comes out, it's a reflection of leadership, or what's being pushed out. Um, okay, when is the best time to use outbound versus inbound, and vice versa? So like I mentioned earlier, it's not to say that you don't do outbound, right? It's you have to have both activities to some capacity, but I would lean heavier on inbound, because it's the more I would say it's the more cost efficient way, if you're just looking at the numbers. Because when you come into a marketing environment, right, with your business's marketing environment, and you're focused on educating and inspiring, you have a broader reach right away, versus when you start just selling right away. And notice, no, sorry, you're an anonymous attendee, so I can't address you by name, but notice whenever you're being hard sold to, right, by a real estate agent or an insurance agent, and they don't know anything about you, they don't know who you are, but they will message you. Many times the first reaction is, you're intruding my personal space, or I can't believe you would reach out to me. You think these things, obviously don't say it, but you think these things, and it's interesting, because as business owners or as marketers, we sometimes have this tendency also, where our mindset is, okay, let's just create ads, let's just sell because we need to hit a quota, and that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense for you as a customer. So why is it that when you wear your marketing or your business hat, now suddenly it's a great idea for you to do? Okay, so I would balance that out, and the balance being 80% of all of your marketing activity should be primarily inbound, and 20%, or even if it's possible to lessen that, would be your outbound, colder approach? Okay, last two questions, and then we'll jump into the workshop. So I'm sure some of these things are gonna come out later. How do you determine that empathy is genuinely sincere or not just gimmick or marketing front? Okay. Uh, this is something that I constantly debate with myself about, because obviously I have an agenda, and marketing's agenda is to create sales opportunities, okay, selling opportunities. And I tell my team this, that if our marketing efforts don't lead into selling opportunities, we're not doing a good job. And why is that so? Because that means I'm not doing a good job in dictating or defining the problem. I'm not doing a good job in defining solutions, or I'm not talking to the right people altogether, right? I'm presenting a solution or a problem to people who don't necessarily care or aren't affected by that problem. Okay, so I think it's really hard to remove the that connection, because marketing has to lead to selling opportunities. That's the function of marketing. But I think how you do it is important. And when you assess, I guess when you assess your own purchasing behavior, you're you're willing to pay for a problem. Here's the thing: you're willing to pay for a solution, and then in whatever capacity it is, whether you're hungry or you need a place to stay or you want to buy new furniture, you have a itching problem that you want to solve, and people are happy to pay for their for these solutions. And um, that relationship starts, well, it will start out easier for you if you have a connection with the business that's a little bit more genuine, right, where the first touch point is educating and informing someone. And yeah, just it's hard to remove that the selling from the picture, just because again, at least for me, marketing has to lead to selling opportunities. Okay, last question before we move on. Okay, how can businesses convert very niche customers into champions so that we can increase referrals? Uh, I like this question because it's something that I'm grappling also with a niche business that I'm working on now. Um, it's very painful, but we're spending a lot on our one-to-one conversations. Meaning we're opening our, very practically, we're opening our Facebook pages, our messengers, our Facebook Messenger, to have all of these, one-to-one conversations with the customer service reps of my client. And it's hard, for a niche business, you're not talking to a broad base of people, but the people that you are speaking with, they're very passionate about it, or they really know that this is a problem. So Lisa, this, I think the mindset here is how can you get more one-to-one interaction. So for this client that I was talking about, it was easy at the beginning because we were getting, let's say, 5 to 10 inquiries a day. And at that point, the reps that we had, it was an easy one-to-one conversation. If they had questions, it's very technical. We had a rep that was able to answer it in a very satisfying manner. But once we upped our spending and we got even more inquiries, it became harder for our client to get, to address these customers. So they had to make the decision to invest more on people who were to reply to that page. And yeah, because again, the mindset is I need all of these people. I need to market to them one by one. And so far it's been working. The sales have been trickling in slowly. It's slower than I would want, but it's building again that foundation. And I think it's especially important if you have a niche product. You're gonna have to be very patient with it. You're going to have to invest into the one-on-one conversations, and most importantly, finding a way to scale that, because you're going to find out that at some point, even your niche customers are asking the same questions almost 7 or 8 out of 10 times. So what we did was, okay, we noticed all of these questions being asked regularly, and we would create blog posts about it. We would create the video about it, so that for the rep, it's just a matter of sending those blog posts out, sending those videos out, or us just pushing that content out, so that when they get to the messenger, they've already had a chance to have these questions answered. It's hard. It's hard to get 100% on that because you will always still have people ask questions, even if they're already answered on the website. But that's just the nature of the job. It's unavoidable. Okay, sorry. Last question, then I really have to jump into the next session. All right. How can startups or businesses create a culture of empathy? This is again, this has to be from top first. Okay, it has to come from management first. And when that's not being practiced, it's hard for marketing to push that agenda. So when you're trying to create that environment, it starts out with first defining the values that you have as a company. And what are the two, three, four things that we say as a company we're really going to value? Integrity, empathy, patience, whatever those values are. Write it down. And more importantly, translate it into actual business practice. So when we did this activity with my team a while back, we said that it was important for us, to practice empathy, right? To practice empathy. That has to be, that's the thing that we push. So obviously internally that has to be a thing. And I had to translate that into actual policy. Because it's one thing to say that you care, right? It's one thing for me to say that, oh, I care about my team. It's another thing entirely to practice it. Okay? And in practice, what did we do? So we had, work from anywhere, even before the pandemic. We had more leaves. We had only leaves. There was a policy that we had. So culture is, just very briefly, it's that. It's defining what are the values of the group collectively that you all agree on, and how is this being practiced, in policy, in action. Because again, it's one thing to say that you care about an employee or you care about someone in your team. Another thing entirely to actually practice it. Oh, and just to share, just one last thing. Um, One of the things that we also held to a high, degree, in Huskee, was we wanted to make sure that anyone who became our client actually learned something from us, right? So that was important to us. That was a value that we held, that we were not just marketers, but we are teachers too. That we want our clients to actually come out more marketing savvy than they did when they first spoke to us. And how we applied this, very, very funny. It always makes for an interesting conversation. Was that in our quarterly feedback sessions with clients, we would legitimately ask them, did we teach you anything new this quarter? Right? Because the mindset should be, they picked up something from us. And I'm happy to say across all of our clients, that was what remained the most consistent. Others, like delivery of the quality of service and punctuality, of course, that would fluctuate depending on the season or the client. But I'm happy to say that what stayed constant was that all our clients, when we started doing the feedback form, they all learned something from us, even just a little bit. Okay, so that, again, example of from value to policy. And I think for culture, if that's the conversation, that has to be the mindset. Okay, define first what's important and show that it's important. Okay. Okay, great. Sige, so let's jump into the strategy session because this is actually my favorite part of the talk. Okay, so I really love strategy sessions. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about marketing, but I was never always good at it. When I started, I didn't know how to think about it. I had to figure out what worked and what didn't. And I find that even now, it's still a constant iteration. It's always a nice learning experience. So if this is the first time that you guys are really sitting down to create your marketing strategy, don't be, threatened or afraid. Don't be afraid. It's fine. We all start out as beginners, and even with me, I can't count how many strategy sessions I've had since we started. Just dozens already. And even me, I still find that I'm learning something new. So normalize that behavior, guys. Normalize being a beginner at something or not knowing something, because once that's normal, the fear of trying something or the fear of learning something gets set aside, and you really are able to absorb a lot more. Okay, so yeah, so don't be afraid to be like this guy who you try, right? And that's the most important thing, especially when you're a beginner. Okay, so how I want to structure this, it's actually really interesting. So we're going to fill out the strategy template that I was talking about. We're gonna fill it out together. So you can either do it using the same case study that I'm going to use, or you can do it with your companies in mind. So either way works. So in this instance, let's just pretend that we're all in the team. We're all a startup. We're all part of a new startup company that offers payroll and attendance tracking services to clients. So it's the basic 15 and 30th payrolls every 15th and 30th, and attendance and time tracking for our business operation. So we measure the in and out of our team, coming in and out of working hours. Okay, so again, you can follow this example that we have. You could also be part of the payroll company that we just created, or you can fill out the template with your own company. That's okay. All right, so right now you can go to this link, tinyurl.com/marketing template 2020. I think it's case sensitive, so just to be sure, make sure that you capitalize M and T, and you should be able to get a copy of the Google Doc that we just created for this exercise. So yeah, again, tinyurl.com. Just go to this link, and yeah, let's do it. So yeah, you're going to end up seeing this. Okay, so yeah, I can see some of you guys now. So it's the marketing plan that we created. So just to give you guys some further instructions, so just go here to file, download a copy. So you can do it in Microsoft PowerPoint. I'm a Keynote guy, but unfortunately, just to make it available for everyone, I just had to use Google Slides. So yeah, convert it na lang to Keynote later on. So download a copy and share it with your loved ones. So if you really like it, please share it with your loved ones. That would be great. Okay, game. So okay, this is my copy. So I'm gonna fill this up live, and what I want to be able to do is again just go through the marketing plan, and then you guys can answer it using the case study that we're doing, or you can answer it using your own company. So just as a quick reminder, we're following the inbound marketing approach. We're following this flywheel method, and we're trying to put customers in the at the center, rather at the center. And yeah, we just have a really nice diagram here of inbound marketing activities that you typically do. Okay, game. So a sound marketing plan for me has four things, and these four things are non-negotiable for me. Without If these four things are not complete, I don't think it's a sound marketing plan, because you have to see it from start to finish. And to make it easy for you guys, you just have to remember four C's: customer persona, your competitor analysis, your content strategy, and your channel distribution. So yeah, essentials for me, and these are the non-negotiable. So you can add, whatever you want to add to this marketing plan or to your social media marketing plan. But without these four things, I don't think it's ever complete. Okay, so for each part, you're answering the following questions. So we want to answer: who is my customer? What other options do my customers have? How can I educate and inform my customers? And where can I reach them? Okay, so four questions. And once you have clarity on these four questions, your marketing strategy takes shape. Okay, and thus your social media marketing strategy. Okay, quick disclaimer, all right? This template was made to serve as only a guide for your marketing strategies, okay? We are going to simplify a process that usually takes us a bit longer than an hour to do. So just to give you an idea, a typical strategy session for us, cumulatively, so it's all the back and forth, it probably takes us about a day and a half total of work total, because that includes the research, some of the interviews, talking to our clients. Admittedly, what we're going to be doing now, it's just a quick version of that. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what it looks like from start to finish, and just to show you that it's not this simple. It's not this simple. And most important to me, at least, this should be an organic document. Okay, you may add or subtract to it this specific document as much as you need. You can edit, you can iterate as you see fit, and yeah, just really take it, make it yours, make it unique to your business, and yeah, let it be organic. It's going to grow, it's going to change, and that's what I like about strategies. right? You have all of these notions, you have all of these ideas, and then when you go through the execution part, you see all of these changes that you need to do. Okay, so organic document, and this is a simplified process. Okay, game. So, first slide, you answer the question, who is our customer? Okay, and for us, we like to just answer these four main things. So you have your basic demographics, okay, you have pain points, you have what they hope to gain, and what their current doubts are. Okay, so um, I'm actually not a fan of the very basic demographics, like age, gender, and location. That's super easy. I could think about that in like 15 seconds or less. Um, what's most interesting about this question is more of the psychographics, how they think. Okay. I'm not so concerned where they live or how old they are, right? Because it's always a bracket, it's always an age range, and that's easy to define. What's most interesting and what's most effective down the road is understanding how they think. Okay, how they think. Okay, so when I answer these questions, what I like to do is I like to name my persona. Okay, so um, I have this exercise of when we're talking to a client, or when we're doing our strategies internally, we always refer to a person or to a persona as if they were in the room. So let's say for our payroll solutions, among many of our customers, we're targeting VP of HR. So let's say his name is Henry, the VP for HR. Okay, so you can name it whoever you want. At first, it's Henry, the VP for HR, and he's a dad. Okay, so he's had a bit of experience, and he lives in Metro Manila. Okay, so we can put him at 45 years old. He's male, and he lives in, let's say, San Juan. So San Juan, NCR. Okay, easy. Okay, so Henry, the VP for HR, and that shouldn't take a lot of brain power. Now, okay. One other thing. I I also don't like. I don't recommend, and I don't like when you group together customers or personas in a wide spectrum. So everyone can't be your customer. You can't target 18 to 65. I mean, if okay, technically they could be your customer, but in this exercise, I really just wanted you to zero in on a very very specific group of people. It's counterintuitive because you want to reach as many people, but Miggy, you're telling me that I should just reach one person. I know, I understand. It's counterintuitive, but you're going to have to trust this process, and it helps you to zero in on really their problems. Okay, so again, in our instance, let's just pretend that we're speaking to just Henry, the VP for HR. He's a 45-year-old male with a nice townhouse in San Juan. Okay, so for Henry, the VP for HR, what are their pain points? Okay, so I like to think of products or services as problem solvers. So Henry, the VP for HR, he has a dozen problems every day. He wakes up, he takes his coffee, he goes to work, or in this case, he opens a Zoom because we're work from home, and he has a flood of problems that he's thinking about. Okay, so I like this exercise. I try to imagine what problems he may have, and I like to write it down. So for Henry, the VP for HR, in the context of work, he probably has a problem with payroll. Okay, payroll services are currently traditional or old school. Okay, so before the pandemic, he didn't have too much of a problem because he saw his staff every day. Everything was done in the office, but because of COVID, he suddenly has a different problem now. Now he can't do the manual payroll services that they used to do because now everything is online, and what he's having a difficulty now because now his staff can't go in. Okay, so big problem. Payroll services are currently traditional or old school. Okay. Second problem that he may have, and this is again possibly a very real problem, is he doesn't have a budget. Okay. Even if he wants to invest in services, he doesn't have a big budget. So I would like to put down here, he doesn't have a big budget. spend on apps or software. Okay, so you want the pain point that's obviously related to your product, and the goal here, or I guess like the challenge rather, is how can you be as specific as possible. Okay, what's a very specific problem that helps, that doesn't help them sleep better. Okay, and maybe last, just to add here, he's concerned with culture. He's concerned. Okay, so just trying to think as Henry, he's an older guy, but he has a lot of younger people working for his company. And obviously he's concerned because a lot of the processes are old school or traditional. But he's working with a group of people that are very tech savvy, or they prefer using tech or software. So that kind of keeps him up at night, because like, okay, how am I supposed to manage the culture of my team? Okay, it's a very specific pain points. Now, I also like to put here, what do they hope to gain? Okay, how does their life change when these problems are solved? Okay, so what I like to do is I like to look at the pain point, and I like to look at, okay, if this pain point was solved, what do they personally gain out of it? So let's go through the exercise. So if they solve the problem of payroll services, if this was magically solved, he would have more time at home, or for his family, right? Big thing, because he's a dad, he has kids. Because he's so stressed that things are manually done, he has to go to the office from time to time. He can't stay home, right? But if it was solved magically, one way or another, he would have more time at home, right? Which is great for him. Okay. Second, if the budget was magically solved, okay, or the big budget, the lack of resources that they have, it's already solved. What does he gain from that? Okay, he could gain recognition for saving up on costs, or saving the business money. To gain recognition, or more funds to use for other things. Let's say, for other things. Okay, so yeah, again, just try to picture. He has a problem with budget. He doesn't have a big HR budget. But if it was magically solved for him, that would mean he would gain recognition for saving the company money, or the extra budget that he has, he could use for other things. And then for his concern with culture, so if they were able to solve this problem, he would feel validated as a leader. His work, or proud of his work, right? Could be that. Okay, yeah. So when he solves his culture problem, he will feel validated. He'll gain validation as a leader. Okay, so yeah, again, very very important to note that down. And when you guys break these things down, you're gonna realize that many people just want the same thing. We want to feel validated. We want to feel like we have more freedom, we have more time, and we want to feel like we matter. And I feel like that's the core gain of many problems that we have. Okay, and yeah, again, that exercise leads to that insight, or those insights, and just asking these questions, just asking better questions, already improves your marketing from the beginning. Okay, so right off the bat, also you wanna answer some of their doubts. Okay, so many businesses will have customers that have all of these questions, right? Or they want to try it, but they're not sure of how it works. And immediately, if you're just trying to think like Henry, you want to think right off the bat, okay, what are some of the questions that they may have coming into a meeting with me possibly? So right off the bat is, how will I know it works? Yeah, how will I know it works? Right. So I won't get to try the product until I buy it. And when I buy it, it's a long-term commitment, and I'm moving all of my processes of my company to here, right? So how will I know that it's a good idea? Obviously, big doubt for them, okay? Because if you think about, again, just think about your product. You're telling people to change an entire business process. And if you've ever had the misfortune of changing a business process while everything is running, you'll understand how painful it is. especially the bigger you are as a company. Very, very painful. So obviously for him, he's concerned. How will I know it's going to work? Another concern he would have is how much will it cost me? Yeah, how much will it cost me? Because this is his shot, this is his call. He needs to validate this, or he needs to defend this to management or finance, right? And that's a big question mark coming into the situation, especially knowing that it's COVID time. Right? It's COVID season. They don't have budget to begin with. They probably had to lay off some people, but now you're asking people, or you're asking the company to spend on software. Obviously, a big doubt for them. Okay, yeah. So before we move on to the next part, I just want to just show you how different it is to just talk about the demographics, age, gender, location, and to just really deep dive into how they think, or what they're thinking, or what they're concerning themselves with. What my team likes to do is we like to come up with these notes, and we like to present it to the client, and the client gives all of these really nice insights also. And sometimes, if it's possible also for us, we also like to sit down with personas that we know, right? So for example, this Henry the VP that I'm thinking about right now, it's an actual person that I'm thinking about, and it makes it easier because I've actually had conversations with this person, and very it's very interesting what you will learn when you speak to a persona. And I feel like this is especially important for fields or for customers that I will never be able to really relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for example, my company, we work with a couple of women's fashion brands. Obviously, I am neither a woman nor do I know anything about fashion. I'm horribly dressed, so I know nothing. It's almost a complete opposite. But yet I have to market to them, and if I don't go into that mode of trying to understand where they're coming from or why they buy my clients' products, I don't do a very good job because I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm not a woman and I'm not good at fashion. Okay, and if I don't make this practice of asking questions, of learning from my customers, my work gets affected. Okay, so it's very, and I think it's also very humbling. I one thing that I also enjoy about this strat work is when I'm humbled by a thought that I felt very strongly about. No, no, women think like this. No, 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 Henry the VP of HR thinks like this. But when I actually speak to these personas and I get my ideas validated, sometimes they're right, many times they're wrong when I ask them. It's very humbling. It's very humbling, and it again makes a difference in our marketing because now I have a better understanding of where they're coming from. Okay, yeah. So yeah, fill this up and really just focus on these three things. What pain do they have in their life, right? What are they itching to solve? And understand also when they do solve these problems, what's in it for them? What do they gain? And what are their doubts? Okay, so they have a problem. They're trying to rid themselves of this problem, but they also have their doubts. Because to them they're thinking, if it were that easy, then I wouldn't have this problem to begin with. Okay, so they will always have these doubts. Okay, second part, competitor analysis, and this is something that I see missing in many strategies or many conversations. When you're in the market, or sorry, when you're marketing for something, uh, you're always going to be fighting for a position or a positioning statement from a competitor, and you have to discern if this competitor is worth fighting, right? If it's worth marketing the same thing or saying the exact same thing. So for example, just a very rough example, let's say I'm a fast food joint and I'm coming up with Filipino fast food. um if I'm looking at the landscape and I see Jollibee, their whole positioning statement is bida ang saya, or they have like the whole family restaurant vibe. I have to really ask myself if I wanna compete the same way. Because if I try to go head to head with the likes of Jollibee, it's a hard battle, right? It's already hard because I'm starting or I'm new. It's even harder because I'm going head to head with a big company that's already positioned this way. Okay, so that's the practical example of why you need, to look at your competitors. Okay, so for us, I'm looking at two competitors. I'm looking at Solarium and Sprout. Okay, so I just want to put it on the record that I know people who work from these companies. I'm in no way trying to, put them down in any capacity. I'm just trying to be objectively. I'm objectively looking through their work and putting it here. And also, full disclosure, none of them are my clients either. So this is really just a nice thought exercise. Okay, so for this part, what I actually like to do is I like to have a sheet like this, and I like to look at my competitors' websites and just look at what are the main things that they're saying. Right? What are the main things that they're marketing to? They're marketing about. Okay, so for Solarium, all right, so I'm looking at their website. This is the first thing that I see. They're a complete payroll software from clock in to payout. So I will just take that, copy paste, and I will put it here in my positioning statement because this is how they're positioning themselves. They're a complete payroll software from clock in to payout. Okay, so that's how they're positioning. Okay, I will look at their key features. So features, guys, it's how a product works. Okay, so it's how a product works. So for features, this is what they have. Okay, it's transparent timekeeping, and it's effortless payroll, and it's secure payout. So I'm just gonna put that here. Their key features is they have timekeeping. Oops, timekeeping. They have sorry, what was that? Payroll services, and then they have secure payouts. Okay, so those are the key features. And what I like to do is for each feature, sorry, of their product, I like to note down also, what are the benefits that they're highlighting. Okay, so that's typically here, right? Very convenient. For timekeeping, it's they get to monitor employees wherever they work. Monitor employees wherever they work. For their payroll, it's fast and accurate payroll online. Fast, accurate payroll services online. Oops. So it's fast, accurate, and it's digital. And then last benefit, their secure payout. Directly pay your employees anywhere, anytime. No need to go through banks. No need to go through banks. Okay. So very simple exercise, but again, very important because I like to see what my competitors are marketing, what exactly they're saying, and I make the decision whether or not I want to say the same thing or I want to say something differently. Okay, so another competitor is Sprout. So Sprout's a big company here also. So sorry, I'm on their about page. I will go to their main website, and again, same exercise. What is their main positioning statement? And here it's very clear. They're the best HR platform made for the Philippines. So best HR platform made for the PH, right? Very easy. Now their key features, the key features, again, just looking through their website, I will make the assessment. What are the things that they're highlighting? So again, same thing. They have HR management, timekeeping, leave management, payroll. So I will put here, so they have their HR management tools. They have timekeeping and attendance. Timekeeping also, attendance. And, sorry. Let's think of something interesting here. They have savings and investments. So that's new. Okay, savings, investments. Okay, and then same exercise. I will check the benefits. So for here, streamline hiring, onboarding, and employee records management. So they get to streamline key HR processes, I would say. For their timekeeping and attendance, they say accurate timekeeping and attendance from the biometrics device, the Sprout HR. Okay, so there's a biometrics device, accurate from biometrics to the HR, to the app that they have, to the HR app. And then last, for their savings and investments, Sprout HR allows employees to easily invest. employee savings program. Let's just say savings program. Okay, yeah. So, oh, one thing that I forgot to mention. If you're in a very busy industry, you'll have tons of competitors. Uh, the way that I see it, it's counterproductive to audit every competitor that you have. So I like to look at just the two things. I like to look at the closest competitor, meaning the ones that my company, that my customers will most likely choose, right? If they're in my price range or they're looking for my kinds of services, and I like to look at my aspirational, meaning who do I want to be able to compete with in the future. Okay, so um, again, it's counterproductive rather to audit 10 competitors, 20 competitors. That's not a great use of your time. But at the same time, doing no analysis is also wrong. So for me, minimum two, I look at my closest competitor and I look at my aspirational. If I add to this, I typically will add to the closest competitor column, just looking more at the other options of my clients. And I will stick with just one big aspirational competitor. But again, that's me. Um, my thinking is my closest competitors are my closest competitors. They're the ones who are most likely going to take my prospects or my customers, or they are going to be the ones that will take my business, or I will lose to eventually if I don't win the customer. And my aspirational competitor, again, if they're really big already, everything that they're doing is worth emulating also, because they must be doing something right. Okay, yeah. So very simple. Again, positioning statement is what's the main thing that they're saying. So for Salarium, they're a complete payroll software. Okay, so from start to finish. But for Sprout, notice the difference. For Sprout, they're not talking about their payroll software. They're talking about themselves as an HR platform. Okay, so big difference. So if I am my new startup, do I want to compete with the payroll front because I am a payroll company, or do I want to say the HR platform front, which doesn't make sense for me because I'm not a complete HR platform. Okay, for features, um, how I would divide features and benefits. Features is the actual feature of a product. So let's say, for example, for your iPhone or your smartphone in general, your features would be your battery life, your space, or how fast the phone is, what apps you can use, or what's exclusive to iPhone. And then the benefits are, what does it mean to you, or what can you do with it. So key feature, for example, for iPhone, 120 gigabyte worth of space. That's a key feature. Benefits is X number of videos, X number of music, X number of photos, right? Because that's what I'm going to use the space for. So feature, number of gigabytes, benefits, what you can do with those gigabytes. Okay. Number three, so product knowledge. You have to also flesh out what you're doing properly, or what your product looks like. And it's it's very surprising to me how many prospects or how many clients don't know how to talk about their product. And if it's not written down somewhere, it's not a strategy. You get what I'm saying? It's just important. It's more important to have something written down. And it's, again, very surprising to me how many people I've come across that haven't written anything down. Okay, so for your product or your service, just having a document highlighting what your key features and your benefits are already puts you ahead of so many businesses that I know don't even have such a thing. Okay. Um, one last side bit here. Don't If you're the marketer or if you're the business owner, don't think of it as common sense, or that, oh, my team should know this, or my client should know this, or my prospect should know this. They don't. They don't. If it's not written down, it can be easily forgotten. It can be misinterpreted. It could be twisted and turned some different ways. So if you're not all on the same page with how your product works or what to focus on, that's going to be a problem. So the simple solution to that is just writing it down. Okay, so if you don't have your product knowledge written down, that's fine. Start after this webinar. Okay, so for us, our products, we have two things. Wait, sorry, hold on. Water break. Okay, okay. Hydrate, guys. Very important. For our product services, we have two main things. We have our payroll and we have our timekeeping. And what I would like to do here is just the same exercise. what are the key features of my payroll and what are the key features of my timekeeping. So again, I'm just going to give some examples because I've never run a payroll company in my life, but I would like to think that these are some of the key features that my fake product has. Because let's say I'm a prodigy in the HR field. Let's say payroll, I have it online with a mobile app. Let's say with mobile app. Okay, let's say I have that. And let's say my key feature is I have let's think of something crazy. Ooh, I have an integration with Grab Pay. Let's say that I have a exclusive partnership with Grab Pay that their payroll becomes Grab credits. I want to spend all my money on Grab. Yeah, so key feature. Okay, so timekeeping. Let's say also it's online. There's a mobile app. Again, because we're just trying to be cool. Let's say we have smartwatch compatibility. Compatibility. Did I spell it right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's just stick with that. Okay. Yeah. So because I'm a tech heavy payroll company. I'm the payroll solution for 2021 onwards. So I'm online. I have a mobile app. I have smartwatch capabilities. So yeah. So let's do that. Okay. Key benefits. So it's convenient, easy access, and I can use it for uh, let's say we can use it for any it's for sorry compatible with any smartphone. Okay, so that's the feature of having my payroll, and it's important because my staff or my team or my colleagues, they can access their payroll, their bank account anytime, anywhere. Okay, great. So key benefits: users can shop easily on Grab or convert to Gcash. Let's say exclusive rewards also. Sorry, I'm daydreaming here. Oops. Exclusive rewards. Got it. All right. So key benefits. Okay, and then for my timekeeping, so there's a mobile app, syncs with smartwatch, easy to access, and then let's say there's a productivity tracker. Sorry, easy to access, tracks productivity accurately. So let's say if you have like freelance workers or people who are working from home, you can accurately track, right, their timekeeping or how many hours they really put in. And because you have a modern group, right, mostly millennials, you know that many of them have a smartwatch. Key benefits: keeps track of time, time. Let's say productivity levels, and real-time data. It's for management. Let's do that. Okay, great. So sorry, I obviously have never created a payroll app before. But if I ever made one, it would look like this. So again, same exercise, features, benefits, and then if you guys notice here in this last column, it might be a little weird to have it here, but this is an important tenet of our strategy. You want to be able to ask yourself, okay, what content offer or what can I what not even content, like what can I offer in general that will allow my customers to try this, right, to experience this without buying it. Okay, how can I give them a taste of it or a sample of it? And the easiest one is, let's say for example, it's a free trial, 30-day free trial, no credit card required. Okay. For the timekeeping, let's say, just for the sake of argument, free consultation plus HR audit. Or no, let's say no. Let's do productivity audit. Para we're cool. Productivity audit. Okay. So once you fill out your product knowledge, okay, so product, your key features, your benefits, the next idea is, okay, how can I get them to experience my solution without a big buy-in from them? Okay, so you see this, for example, with restaurants, they have free samples, or they have like a smaller buy-in, and this is important, especially if you're a new product or you have a product that's not widely used, or you have an expensive product. There has to be a small step that people can take to alleviate risk. Okay, so remember this, guys. If you're new to a prospect, they've never bought from you, or even worse, they've never heard of you. There's a ton of risk involved with choosing you. Okay, with choosing you. What does that mean? What that means is it takes a lot of convincing, because they don't know who you are, right? Or they don't know how that your product works. And if you can't remove that risk or that friction between your customer and yourself, it becomes harder to make that purchasing decision. So if you can create something that eases the risk a little bit, right? Or gives them an ability to learn more about your business, that would be the agenda here. So depending again on your business, or the kind of operation that you're running, think about what could be an offer that you give that's risk free, or that helps minimize the risk or the doubts that customers have. Okay, so in our case, we have a 30-day free trial, no credit card required, um, and we have free consultation if they want to take the timekeeping. Okay, next we do content strategy. Now I really love this exercise, because when I think of it like this, I have unlimited things to talk about. Okay, so I will go back to the previous slide. So I will go back to slide number 1, and I will pick a pain point. So we wrote 3. We're just going to choose 1 for now, just as an example. So I'll copy that, and I will put it here. Oops. So payroll services are currently traditional or old school. Now, when I'm coming up with content to create, right? So content ideas for videos, for GIFs, for flyers, for captions, anything that you create. I like using this framework. I like to ask them, I like to give them informative content, giving them what they need to know about the product. I like to show them educational content, showing them how to do something with the product, or how to accomplish something. And inspirational, telling them why they should take action, or they should use the product. Okay, so what, how, and why. 3 questions to ask yourself for unlimited things to write about. So in our example, we have, so the pain point is payroll services are currently traditional or old school. Okay, so what's an informative what question that they may have that will help them, get clarity on this pain point. So let's say, for example, a what question could be, uh, what what do um, new employees expect from 2021? So new employees expect from companies in 2021. Right? It doesn't have to necessarily be related to the pain point. It could be a topic around it. But again, just the mindset of giving them what they need to know about the problem that they have. So payroll service. So again, pain point is payroll services are currently traditional, old school. So one question we could answer is, what do new employees expect from companies in 2021? Let's say another question is, what do top companies do with their payroll? Or let's say case studies, for example, right? Case studies. That could be a possible one. Okay. How content is very helpful also, and we love the how questions. So think about also, okay, what are how questions that my customer may have, right? In terms of this pain point of payroll services that I have are currently traditional, old school. So one how question is, how should HR departments look like, right? departments look like? Departments. How does payroll, timekeeping, online work? Okay, so many different kinds of how questions you can ask. How long does it take to install a new HR tool? Okay. And then last is, why should I invest in technology for HR? Why should, let's say, tech be at the center of my culture? Why must we embrace innovation in HR? Right, so tons of things that you can write. So when you guys structure it like this, okay, so you pick out the pain point that you just wrote, and then you write questions that you have for informative content, and then you have how questions for educational and inspirational questions for why questions for inspirational content. When this is the framework that you guys have, you never run out of ideas to create. And to save you some time, if you get stuck eventually, like me, I eventually get stuck with what questions I could answer. I like using this tool. So you guys can go to answerthepublic.com. Okay, answerthepublic.com. And then you can search for a topic or a brand or a product, and then you can see oh, sorry, I forgot to put in the Philippines, but you could change this to the Philippines. You can see questions that are usually being asked around this product, and you can fill the framework that we were just looking at with questions that you find here. So when you scroll down, yeah, you see this nice visual chart of all of these how, what, why, where, whatever questions. But if you want to make it easy, so just click data, and then you can see how questions. How do payroll services work? How much payroll services cost, how to cancel, how much is ADP, I think, is a brand, and how to charge for payroll services if you're a company. What questions here? Very similar. And why? Why is oh no, why why is it why are what questions here? Why outsource payroll services? Why choose payroll services, etc. Okay. Yeah, so this is a hack. If you don't want to think about it, go to answerthepublic.com. But if you want to go through that whole thought exercise, it's always fun to do this. Now, what makes this an interesting part of your strategy is because all of the content that you create for your customers, whether that be a video or a GIF or a flyer, the objective should be to answer a question. Okay, don't just create content for the sake of creating content. It has to mean something. There has to be an answer. Okay, and typically the answer is either a what, a how, or a why question, more often than not. And when you structure your content, even before you come up with an idea, when you structure your content to answer questions, you really embody the empathy that we were just talking about. Because we're always gonna have questions about something, about a product or a service. That's never going to end, especially at the beginning of a customer experience or a customer journey. And when your mindset is, okay, what are the top questions? What are some of the questions that I can expect my customer will ask? When that becomes the things that you talk about in your business, your content strategy becomes easy, because all of the GIFs, captions, blogs, videos that you create, they're all tailored to a question that you had asked at the beginning of the strategy session. Okay, so yeah, I will not fill out the second part because you will see me make mistakes. But you guys get the idea. It's pain point driven, so you just have to go back to the first one that you wrote here. And then it's always question driven, your content. So asking what, how, and why. And if you wanna hack it and you're tamad to answer or think about questions, there's always Answer the Public to use. And it's for free, guys, so I'm not paying for this. All right, so we're nearly there. Don't worry, guys, almost done. Number 5, expect the friction. Okay, so you want to look at the doubts that you noted down here. and put it back into that framework, because again, this will help you create more content ideas. So in our example here, our two doubts were how will I know it works, and how much would it cost me. So um, uh, how will I know it works, and then how much it will cost me. Okay, so they have a doubt. It's a major doubt. How will I know it works, or how much will it cost me? How sorry, how much it will cost me? How much will it cost me? How will I know it works? All right, sorry, my English is not very good right now. Okay, so when you have a doubt, you will have reasonings that they will have. Okay, so let's say for example here, how will I know it works? And in that main doubt, they will have sub doubts or sub objections that they will put out when they meet with you or when they talk to you. So how will I know it works? First objection here is they will typically. So I'm gonna try to think about it. They will typically say something in the lines of, um, there is a long. Sorry, there might be a long contract period. Okay, there might be a long contract period. So that's hard for me because as Henry, the VP for HR, um, I will only know that this works later down the road, right? And it's hard for me to do that because I'm going to be taking a risk. Okay, second objection, how will I know it works? How can I gauge that people are using it properly? Okay, so I'm investing in software, but software is just software, and if no one is using it, it's hard to see, right? So it's hard to justify. Okay, and last, what's another objection here? How would I know it works? So there might be a long contract period. I don't know if people are going to use it properly. Um, I'm worried about, let's say, customer service, or after sales. How would I know that someone is, how would I be assured that someone's going to help me out? Okay. And so it's a nice thought exercise because these are the contentions that they will have, that oftentimes they will use to reason out of working with you guys, or buying your product. And if you guys think about it, when you're already on the mindset that you're doubting something, or you think that the risk of trying something is really high, you start reasoning yourself out that I won't know how it works. There's a long contract period. I don't know how I can gauge if it's working properly. And if I do buy it, how do I know that customer service is going to be there? Okay, so all of these different objections. And what's nice here is also you can create content around it. Okay, there's a content piece that you could do, that you could write, that you could produce, that will help them at least worry a little bit less. Okay, so content here, for example. So objection that they may have, there is a long contract period, right? One content that you can have here is you talk about. Oh, sorry. No, no, let's just write the topic. How long? Oh, no, 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 no. Let's do this. Content. How long does, let's say, innovation take? Okay. So objection one, you know that, okay, there's going to be a long contract period, and I'm scared. I'm scared that's not going to work. But I need to be able to address that doubt or worry by, maybe probably creating a content piece around how long does innovation take? Because I understand that if the mindset of my customer is, I want to see instant results, I want to see instant relief, they're really not going to give that new solution some time. And again, if you're changing a business process, it really is going to take you a considerable amount of time. So this is an objection that could kill the deal, right? Because from the very beginning, Henry, the VP for HR, might not be bought into the whole long-term idea. But if you can create content around that, you can educate him around that, it helps at least make it helps them worry less, and that helps you in the long run. Okay, so yeah, another content idea. Another one, how can I gauge that people are using it properly? So let's say one thing I can write about is um, how to, let's say, how to track employee productivity. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here, guys? I'm trying to attack the mindset or the beliefs that they have, or rather the doubts that they have, that will stop me or stop them from pursuing a deal with me. Okay, because again, context. They're a little desperate. Their systems are manually done. They don't have a lot of budget, so they're really scared. Right? They're scared to make a decision, and when they're really scared, right, they have all of these reasons for not doing something, and this is what's going to stop them from pursuing a deal with you. But again, if even before the marketing process or the sales process, you're already in the business of trying to understand what are the fears or what are the objections that they're going to have that will possibly stop your deal, you can create content around that, and you can address it even before they speak with you. Or if they do speak with you and they have those doubts, you readily give them a resource to work with. So guys, just going back to the whole point of this is how you can practically apply the empathy, because you understand they have an objection, that they have these fears, whether they're relevant or not, and you want to address them earlier on with content. Last is, I'm worried about customer service or sales. So let's say I could put slides in my uh, PPT about our let's say post sales services. Okay, so remember, guys, anything that you guys create, right? It doesn't even have to be like Facebook content. Content is also, I mean, your pitch decks are content. Okay, your one pagers, your product explanations are content, and when you think of it like that any creative material that goes out is content. You're not just going to stop thinking of you're not just going to limit yourselves to thinking about just Facebook. You're going to think about all of the content that comes out in emails and captions and your one pagers and your PDFs, and you're going to use that also and fill it with this information. Okay, yeah, so again, I'm not going to finish doubt number two because this takes me quite some time to do, and I can't think in like 5 minutes. But yeah, you guys get the point. So for slides number 4 and 5, it's really creating content around questions they may have, related to a pain point that we previously noted down, and creating content around doubts. And I feel like, especially this slide, number 5, expect the friction. This is one of the these are the silent killers of a deal. And and even and even worse, I think, especially in our culture in the Philippines, you will have prospects not be completely honest with you as to why they didn't pursue a deal with you, or why didn't they pursue an opportunity with you. And you not being able to ask is also a problem. And once you guys get into the habit of asking these questions, or thinking about what could be reasons why they don't pursue with you and trying to address them, it's very interesting to see. It's very interesting to see. I make it a point also now, just to give you, I guess, some of the practices that I do. When a prospect doesn't choose us, when they go with another agency, I like to ask them what went wrong, or I like to ask them what it is that the other agency offered that we didn't. And it's always great because the usual suspects, they like the ideas of the other agency better. They like they can't afford our budget after all. They didn't like our approach, and all of this information is so helpful for me because it makes my marketing better. Um, Whether I agree with it or not is a different thing. But I try to put myself in a position where I'm listening to their feedback and see, okay, in these instances where the client is like this, it would benefit us if we adjusted our strategy like so. Okay, yeah. So the friction points like this are very important. Okay, last 3 slides. So I have this term. I have this term where I challenge my creatives team when they're making something. The question that I throw to them is, how do you chop this content into other content pieces, or in other words, if I invest a lot of my time in this one big piece of content, how can I turn that into other pieces of content? And this is a really nice mindset to have, because it really puts, well, it puts a lot of good pressure in your creatives to really make an idea last. Okay, and it gives you the ability to not have to not run out rather of content or ideas to produce. Okay, so when I repurpose my content, I always like to look at it in that lens of one piece of content that I have, how can I turn it into four? If that's a challenge, okay? And I always like to hover it around the lead magnet or the content offer that we were just talking about earlier. So you want to go back to slide 3 here, number 3. You want to pick one of the content offers that you got. So that's, for example, here it's our 30-day free trial. I will go back here to this slide and I'll put it here as reference. Okay, and then I will create content with the goal of getting them to do this free trial. Okay, so remember how we set this up. This free trial that we have is my way of getting them to try my key features or my key benefits risk free or with less risk, and to get them to trust me. Okay, remember what we talked about earlier. Inbound marketing is in the business of creating value, or demonstrating value rather, and creating trust. Okay, I need to demonstrate that my product is valuable, or it will bring value to you as a customer, and I need you to trust me that I will deliver the value that I say it will deliver. Okay, and that's oftentimes solved with a lead magnet or an offer in whatever capacity that means to you. And when I create content, I want them to try this offer. You get me? So this is what I was saying earlier, guys, when I said your content has to mean something. Okay, I've sat in so many sessions with clients and prospects where they just want to create content for the sake of content. You know, they just want to be able to say, "Oh, we posted something," or "Oh, we need to post 3 times a week." Okay, that's not the right mindset to have. The 3 times a week is an effect of the thinking that I want to be value adding, I want to give information, and then let's create three pieces of content. It's not, just 3 pieces of content for the sake of 3 pieces. Okay, and there has to be an objective. Okay? You want them to actually do something, because you're, again, remember what I mentioned earlier when I answered the question. Your marketing activities have to lead to a selling opportunity or an opportunity for another conversation. Okay, if your marketing doesn't do that, it's not good marketing. Okay, the video that we were looking at earlier, that doesn't mean anything if they weren't able to deliver the solution that they said that they would deliver, which is a teaching program, a scholarship fund. Okay, doesn't make sense. So your content has to mean something, it has to lead to something. And if you can't lead them to an immediate purchase, I mean, as much as I would want that, it's very difficult to do that consistently. I try to lead them to the first step, okay, which is okay, a 30-day free trial. Okay, so you just spent the last 2 slides, slides 4 and 5, creating all of these different ideas, and now you just need to pick from the many topics or questions that you had just created. So for here, let's say for example, I will pick why must we embrace innovation in HR? Okay, I'll pick that. I will put it here in the content or topic. So notice this, guys. Even before I came up with a video idea or blog post, or sorry, SMCP is social media content post. If you're not familiar, so it's like, let's just say a static design or a static post on Facebook. Everything that I come up with here, blog videos, social media posts, they're all answering a question that I had written down, because I know it's a question that my customer has about their pain points that they have. Okay, so again, this is where empathy comes in, guys. This is practical empathy. I'm not just creating for the sake of creating or to meet a quota. I'm creating for the sake of answering a question that I know that my customer has, or that I am trying to understand if my customer has. Okay. So it starts with a question, just pick from the long list of questions that you just made. Okay, so you pick out the content. It's this for in our example, it's why must we embrace innovation in HR? And then a video content idea here. Let's say we let's say interview uh, HR professionals or employees about their fave company tech, for example, or their company tool or app. Okay, so that's a nice video content because again, I'm trying to answer the question: why must we embrace innovation in HR? A blog post idea, I would say five. Let's say 5 apps every employer needs to have for their sales team, for example. A very specific. And then blog post 2, let's say why must you invest in XYZ apps for your finances, for example. Okay, just another idea. Okay, oh, sorry. If I haven't made it clear enough, um, the content or the question that you have here, you don't necessarily have to answer it directly, right? You can branch out all of these different topics, and that's what's very interesting about content strategy is that one idea or one question leads to different kinds of questions, and it's great because the more questions that you answer, again, the more clarity you give to your customers, and the more that they can trust you. So as long as it doesn't veer too far away from the main question, go ahead and ask that question or create that piece of content. Let's say for SMCPs, for social media posts, you create an graphic graphic about blog one, right? So you created um this blog post here, right? You have 5 apps that every employer needs, and you create an infographic about it. And then for your social media content post 2, it could be from, for example, let's say must have apps for millennials, for example, um, as a way of just getting back to this innovation question that we talked about earlier. It could be something like that. Now, this is one way to do it, right? Where you chop the content from topic, and it births into it turns into other topics or other questions. Or what you would also like to do here is instead of it branching out to different topics, you could also just branch it out from one content. So right, I'm gonna delete everything that I just wrote here, just to give you guys an example. And then let's say we're going to just stem from this one video content. Okay, so I can chop it into multiple topics, or I can just chop it into different formats. Okay, so video content. Again, it was an interview with HR professionals or employees about their favorite company software, or what tech or tool or software that they really enjoy doing. I can turn it into a blog post. So five apps that most employees love, right? So I literally just answered that here. I just take some of their answers and I turn it into a blog post. Blog post number 2 could be what employees say about app XYZ, right? Because you're just taking from the video over here. Social media post 1 could be quote from video 1. Okay, so those quotes where it's a screenshot of the face, and then there's like a quote over here. Yeah, so that's one SMCP here. And then the infographic ID that we had earlier, infographic of the 5 apps. Okay, so you have what is app XYZ, what's app ABC. Yeah, so many ways to turn one idea into multiple ideas. So you could do the first method where one topic leads to all of these smaller topics, or you could do it this method where you create one big piece of content, and then you turn it into other pieces of content that are all related to the video, but it's in a different format. It's slightly answering different questions, but it all leads back again to this value of why must we embrace innovation in HR? And then the call to action for all of these pieces of content is to get them to try out the free trial of your payroll services. Yeah, and so you have only ideas, and it's always a great exercise because if you follow it like this, up until this point, so slides 1 to 6, you really just never run out of things to to, to talk about or to write about. Okay, last 2 slides, guys. So for our channel distribution, there are 5 things that I like to define. Um, First is what would be the primary channel for content distribution, and what would be the secondary. Okay. Um, I am okay. This is for most businesses. I wouldn't say all. I would, but definitely for most. You should focus on the quality of a platform versus quantity. Okay, it would be better for you. I could argue that you're better off making your Facebook page, go all out, be 100%, versus being active in 5 different channels and being half-hearted or doing it half-assed. Okay, so pick one channel that's going to serve as your main hub, and everything else should supplement that platform. Okay, again, it sounds counterintuitive, I know, but for content, you really want to do more quality than quantity. And I say this because for most people, for most businesses, they can't even get the quality thing right. I mean, like they can't even do the content thing right, and then now they're stressing themselves over being active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the Snapchat, everything. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so pick two. Pick two. One is your main hub, and one is your secondary hub. And depending on the platform, okay, depending on the business, this will differ. Okay, so more often than not, it's Facebook. Okay, but there are some instances actually where I would actually advise my clients that Instagram is better, or YouTube is better. So for us, knowing our target market, we say that our primary hub is going to be Facebook, and then our secondary hub is going to be website. Okay, so for main hub and secondary, this is your content distribution. Okay, reminder, this is your content. So when you're creating new content, videos, GIFs, blogs, the main channel is for Facebook, at least for our example, and then we have our secondary, which is the website. Again, depending entirely on your business or industry. Okay, other things to define is where can customers learn more about your products. They could be the same thing. It's fine if it overlaps, because the point of my conversation earlier was just for your content, your main content. But for supplementary stuff, it could be other channels also. So for info, it's my website. It's there. For my sales, where can you send proposals or close sales? For my business or for my client, it's going to be email marketing. For your customer service, where do they reach you? Could be Facebook, specifically Messenger, for example. Okay. Yeah. And so you have just to wrap this part up, you want to define the 2 platforms that you're going to be active in and the 2 platforms you're going to create content for. Okay. And for us, it's Facebook and website. And again, I just would like to stress, you are better off being known for 1 or 2 key platforms and then really just investing there, versus being active in 7 platforms and not doing anything exceptionally well. Okay, so focus on the quality of the platforms rather than being active everywhere. Okay, and then also define again, just so that it's on paper or it's written down, where can customers learn more about your more about your product? How will you be selling to them? And how are you going to be addressing their concerns? These are very important that you define these platforms. Okay, and then last, so if you're going to be running Facebook advertisements, you want to be able to fill this up also. And this is great because, well, for one thing, these are the things that you can input already when you're doing your Facebook targeting. And second, and I think very often overlooked, this is what you can put in the captions or the headlines. So just again, for your targeting worksheet here, you just want to type in who's the persona. So it's Henny, the VP for HR. So work background, he's VP for HR, VP for HR, master's degree. Let's just say he has an MBA. has an MBA, comes from top schools. Let's say in the top schools in the country. His favorite apps: Netflix, Spotify, Grab. The usual for him. Oops, sorry. Let me. Media sites that they follow. So let's say he follows what's the next one? Let's say CNN, and he also follows. If you guys know Marvin Guillermo, he's a finance investor. Second investor, stock investor content. Yeah. So yeah, very important to put down media sites, news that they follow, and then weekend activities. He plays basketball and does running. Okay. One. Sorry, actually my specialty really is in Facebook advertising. That's really my bread and butter, and that's what I could do like with my eyes closed. Um, One thing that I would like to share with you. So when you're doing your Facebook targeting, intuitively you try to look at interests around your product. Okay, so for example, for us as a payroll provider, I'm gonna usually target people who are interested in business or in human resource management or in HR or payroll. I will type that in the Facebook targeting. But very often overlooked is the fact that on Facebook, Henry the HR isn't just consuming content about HR. He's also consuming content about business, about real estate investing, about fatherhood, about basketball, about sports. You will also benefit from having lifestyle factors into your targeting. And no, so just the point being, don't constrain yourself to just targeting measures about the product. You can easily also target lifestyle factors or behavioral factors that are not necessarily related to your product, but it's related to your persona. So let's say, for example, wild example, but let's say my persona, let's say he's vegan. Let's just say there is just for some reason, all most HR for VP for HRs are vegan. Let's just say as a wild example. I shouldn't be afraid to use veganism or vegan food or vegan diets or vegetarian related targeting to target my persona. Okay, again, just as a wild example. I'm not saying that all VP for HRs are vegetarian or vegan. Okay, so but again, just don't be afraid of the whole lifestyle or behavioral targeting. Okay, for the pain point, so again, I will just go back to the first one. I will pick out one pain point, and then I will put it here. And this becomes a talking point that I have for my client, for my prospect rather. And then I will get my key features here. Oops. Yeah, and then the benefits. Sorry, I didn't format this properly. I'll get the benefits. So this part on my Facebook targeting, this eventually becomes my copy, right? So I use this to target on Facebook with my Facebook ads, and then my pain point and my features and benefits. I just want to make sure that I put that down there, or I put it on my caption. Now, if you want to see what your competitors are doing, which again is super fun, one thing that I like to do is so actually, if you guys didn't know, you can see the ads that your competitors are running. So for Sprout Solutions, if you scroll down and then you look at page transparency and then you click see more, you will see that they're running ads or not. So in this instance, they're not currently running any ads. But when you click this, you get transported into this dashboard where you will see all of the ads that they're running. And so if the page is running ads, you will see it here. Oops, sorry, let's put it here in the Philippines. Yeah, if they're running ads, you will see it here. And what's really nice is you will see the copy that they're using, and then you'll see some of the words that they're using. And if you like it enough and it makes sense for you, you can take a page from their playbook, or again just avoid that positioning entirely if it's running ads. So yeah, again, that's here. So you just want to go to page transparency and click see more, and you'll see all of the ads that they're running. All right. So final tips. Number one, again, iterate as needed. I said this earlier that your marketing plan should be an organic document. This should change. I would actually be surprised if it didn't change. The more that you learn about your customers, so it really has to evolve with your business. Second, be flexible with your method. So your goal is to educate. Okay, that's the goal of inbound marketing and for your marketing as a whole. And whatever that means, and how you do that is going to evolve also. So you be flexible, right? If for some reason your persona prefers TikTok videos or podcasting, then that should be a format that you look into. Not because you're just trying to get into the hype, but you understand that I want to teach, I want to inspire or educate and inform them, and for my persona, it makes the most sense to do podcasting, for example. Then I should do it, okay? Because okay, I mean, I thought the video was gonna work, but it's the podcasting pala, and you have to be able to make those calls. Number three, stick with the process. So unfortunately, you don't lose 20 pounds overnight. So if you look at it as a health example, you don't lose weight or you don't get into shape overnight. And it's the same thing with your marketing. You work on it day by day, and if you do it consistently, that's the only time that you see results. Um, believe me, guys. Believe me. If I could wave a magic wand and my clients' marketing problems would go away, I would do that, and I would be freaking rich because I could just make their problems go away. But the reality is, it doesn't work like that. I have to be able to push the agenda of working consistently every day. Do I get it right all the time? Definitely not. I make a lot of mistakes, but the process, right, of iterating and changing and just sticking with it, sorry, is what matters. And that's what if you guys caught that earlier, I said that once you do marketing, you can't stop. And once you do this whole strategy, you can't stop. It becomes part of your business operations in the day to day, the day to day situation. And then yeah, just you just want to stick with it. That's the most important thing. And last, and this is I feel like the most important advice for any strategy: execution is more important. Ideas are cheap, guys. It's cheap. You can spend days, right? Days doing all of these slides that we just did. But if you don't execute it properly, if you don't push to make it work, it doesn't matter. Um, the idea creating is fun, okay? And execution is even more difficult. And if you're not in love with the executing as much as you are in love with the idea creating, it's just going to be a very difficult situation for you guys. So yes, that's it for the marketing plan. If you guys have any questions about that, you can go check out my email, check out our website, and you're free to message me also. All right. Okay, so just to wrap things up, but before we move into Q&A, I wanted to share also what you could expect in 2021 as just a nice babaon for you guys as we end this session. So the first one is e-commerce is here. We've been saying this for years that digital marketing is going to be the path, that e-commerce is going to be the path, and it's just I will laugh at it just in the grand scheme of things that it's funny that it had to take a pandemic for us to really finally figure that out. That online will no longer just be an afterthought. It will be the channel, and you guys have to embrace it. And I actually like this thought that I've heard from other marketers that digital is going to die because at some point there is no more such thing as digital marketing. It's just going to be marketing. We're not going to make that distinction anymore between traditional and digital. It's just going to be marketing. And again, just very funny that it had to take a pandemic to push us here, but it's here and it's going to stick. And if your business is not thinking online digital first, you're going to get left behind for sure. Second, videos are going to be the in thing. There will be a shift toward video content, towards live streaming and TikTok-ish content as more companies move into the media mindset. it's very interesting to have seen these last few months more and more businesses embrace video content. They embrace the live streaming. I like this term that I see, Ace. If you're still here in the audience, I like this term that you throw around. It's shop. I think I'm gonna butcher this. You say shop entertainment, where you have live shows or live videos around products that you just see in the shelf, but you make it fun, you make it interesting. That's gonna be a thing, okay? And TikTokish content. So I say the ish because I'm not so sure if TikTok is going to be the platform for that. The format and the kind of content, yes, I think it's going to stick, but I'm still waiting for Instagram's take on it, and they will have a take on it. And depending on how that turns out, if TikTok will win, which I actually think they will, I don't think it's going to be a Snapchat moment. That format of the short clips of the creative videos, that's going to stick. That's going to stick. And just some insider info, if you want to think of it like that. We work with a partner here in the Philippines that exclusively distributes TikTok advertising, and wow, it has just blown up this year. Many more brands are embracing it, and I really think it's here to stay. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a Snapchat situation where Instagram Stories just takes over, or Instagram takes over. Um, but yeah, I just want to see it out because that's still Facebook and that's still Instagram. So it should still make for an interesting conversation. And lastly, automation is going to be a thing for 2021. There will be an even greater pressure to automate marketing across the entire journey. So your SMS automations, your customer service, and e-commerce. Um, that's still going to be that's going to be an even bigger pressure for you guys. And if you can't scale the whole one-to-one conversations, you really do miss out on selling opportunities. Yeah. So last word on bouncing back, since this is a trend for us moving into 2021. We all lost something during this pandemic, whether it was an opportunity or a business or a project or clients. But really, life just does go on, and this is definitely not the time to think for yourself or to be selfish. This is the time to rebuild, to engage, and to find solutions together with your customers. And I really do believe that you can overcome your business challenges with just a little bit more kindness, and that again has to trickle down from the top to bottom. And I really don't think that's a marketing responsibility. I think that's just a business responsibility overall. And to leave you with a last quotable quote, empathy is a marketer's greatest strength. And if there's one sentence that just captures everything that we talked about these last 2 hours and a half, it's this: it's give before you take. Challenge yourself not to create content for the sake of creating content or strategize for the sake of strategize, but do that in the context of giving something of value to your customers before even taking anything or asking for anything. All right. Yeah. So thank you guys for sticking around. I'm happy to see that we still have most participants in. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to answer questions. And I actually see that there's a lot of movement in the chat. I haven't seen it myself yet, but yeah, ready to answer questions.
Hey, Miggy, thank you so much. Let's all give Miggy a round of applause, a virtual round of applause.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was such a jam-packed session we had. I learned so much. I cannot believe it. And I learned a lot of new things. Thank you so much, Miggy. Let's get into answering some questions for you. Actually, during the workshop, there were some guys here who were already chiming in their questions. Maybe you can go through them.
Yeah, game. Let's do it
Sig-
by time.
Sige.
Okay. So first question. How do you handle competitors who copy your branding, like outright? The tone, brand personality, messaging, any tips? Would it be worth it to get a trademark? Okay. Uh, such an intense battleground, this whole branding thing. Okay, so first thing, the trademark thing makes a lot of sense. if you have, for example, a look or a logo or something that you really believe just should be yours, or it's not, yeah, that's very unique to you. I absolutely think it makes sense to get a trademark. um one thing though that I always like throw as a example is, it's hard to out content a company whose whole mindset is just to create content. Okay, when your branding doesn't just rely on aesthetics or a logo or words that you put, when it doesn't just rely on that, and you put in the work with, let's say for example, tons of video content or podcasting or written content, it becomes harder to just copy you. um Unfortunately, because the business world is just so competitive, you're always going to have that, and it's just so it's it's just the nature of business. It's always going to be there. But if you can out content a company, I think you always win in the long run. And they can copy the easy things. They can copy the logo or the look or how you edit photos, but they can't copy immediately the onslaught of content that you're able to create if you think about creating it at scale. um I like this. I'm not going to pretend like this is my mindset. So this is an idea that I got from Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a business personality if you haven't seen him. He has this amazing talk on how companies have to transform from product or service companies to media companies, right? So let's say for example, in my context, I have to think that I'm a media company. That's why I create a ton of content, and I just so happen to sell marketing services on the side. Okay, so it's not the other way around. I don't sell. I'm not a marketing agency, and I just so happen to do media services on the side. It's the other way. I'm a media company, and I do marketing services on the side. And when that's the mindset, you work to out content your competitors, to out create your competitors, and that's where I think you'll have that advantage. Okay, and when you are able to do this at a scale, right? So on the ideas, and you're able to create at all of these smaller pieces of content, I think you win, and I think you're able to distinguish yourself. And yeah, it's hard to avoid. You can't avoid people copying you. But yeah, it's just part of business, and if I think if you can out content a competitor, I think you have an advantage. Uh, this has been a struggle for my brand. I know that another tactic is to steal followers on IG by following your competitors' followers. I've been experiencing this a lot recently, and I'm grateful that my customers notify me. What's the best way to protect your brand? Um, yeah, again, it's really hard. So, if you guys remember, I mentioned that I work with brands in women's fashion, and that arena is so ruthless. It's crazy. The copying, the sabotaging, and taking content ideas and branding. It's wow. It's so competitive, and um, yeah, it's just related to the advice that I gave earlier. It's how can you gotta have to challenge yourself to out content your competitors, and try to do things that they might not immediately think of doing, and eventually they might catch on, and they will do other things that you're doing also. But I feel like if you're chasing, you're doing stuff uh just to keep them away, I don't think you're playing on the defense, and you're not playing to win. You're playing not to lose. And when you're playing not to lose, it's always gonna feel like you're playing catch up. Okay, because you're catching up. Oh, they're doing this, so you should do this. Shift the mindset to playing to win, and let them catch up with you. Okay, and it's tough. I know, and I say this like it's so easy, but in practice, I understand it's very difficult. But that has to be the mindset. But when you're worried too much about your competitors, when you're looking over your shoulder too often, you miss the point of you miss the race, right? Because the competition is not here; it's there. Right? It's forward. And when you're playing not to lose, you don't take a lot of risks, right? You're not you're not engaged, you're always on the defensive. It has to be the other way around. You have to be setting the tone. Let them catch up to you and not the other way around. And it's always interesting to see that when we have these clients where we get to shift that tide, it's almost funny now when we see our competitors do the things that we're doing. It's like, okay, I know that you're looking, and I'm happy that you think it's a great idea. So we're not too concerned with them. We're just concerned with playing on the offense, and it still wins. It still wins because when you are setting the pace, they're playing by your rules, not the other way around. Because when you play by their rules, they dictate who wins. But when it's the other way around, where you're setting the tone, you're setting the rules, they're playing by your rules. Okay. With all the platforms available, what's your guidance on how to choose which is best for your business? Okay, difficult question depending on the industry. But I would say for most businesses, Facebook is still king. Um, my more often than not, my combination is still Facebook and website. Those are the two non-negotiables for me. Sometimes it would be Instagram and website. Believe it or not, there are some clients where I actually suggest that let's try to stay off Facebook and let's use Instagram as our main channel. But I would say those are exceptions rather than the rule. For me, it's still Facebook and website. And I'm not. I get why, but I am on my train of thought is always I should always prefer to still have a website. I shouldn't settle with just having a Facebook page. I know it's easy to have a Facebook page, great, that's fine. But a website has just too many advantages to not notice. So if you're a small business, I understand that there's a lot to do. Work on your Facebook page, yes, definitely, but work in the website. Because regardless of whether how small your business is or how small you think your operations are, a website is just so valuable. And yeah, there's just no. I can see the cons, right? It's just another expense. It's another asset to take care of. But when I see the pros and I see the effect of a website, especially for smaller businesses, it's too much. The pros outweigh the cons by so much. So regardless of the size. So yeah, Facebook website. Um, does organic social media inbound marketing is it still effective today? For new startups, what should be the priority focus of marketing efforts? How much budget should be set for ads? Um, all right. I'm going to say this generally, but there's an asterisk. Organic content is dead, guys. Organic as a strategy is dead. The notion that we have to post every day, that was because before Facebook was actually very friendly for organic posting, meaning more people saw organic posts from businesses. And the reason why posting every day was a strategy was because it used to work, right? But now it doesn't because they changed the algorithm. And again, I'd love to go into the technicalities, but long story short, they removed organic reach because they want you to spend more on ads. So yes, organic is still, I mean, like, it's still a strategy, but it's not the strategy. Paid advertising is especially more important now. And related to your budget question, unfortunately, I can't answer that in like in 5 minutes. But quickly, and Patrick, sorry, I hope you don't mind that I plug. I actually have a video about it on our YouTube channel at Huskee. So we talked about media buying and how to budget properly, and I gave I would say a very satisfying answer there. So if you want to check that out, that's free, obviously, and you're free to take what insights we gave there. Okay. Hi, Miggy. Do you have recommendations for other social listening tools similar to Answer the Public? Another quick one is BuzzSumo, but that's more for seeing what articles are being written around your topic. So I would say Answer the Public is more for keywords. BuzzSumo is more for articles. Um, but one other thing that I like to do, it's free to use, Google search. So I like to Google search my competitors to see what articles they may have or what articles about them they have, and I like to take that also. Yeah, Google is still a great tool, especially if you're cost conscious. So yeah, and so BuzzSumo, Answer the Public. I forget the name of his platform, but Neil Patel has free tools also for SEO, and those are great tools also to figure out what content is good and what you can take advantage of also. Okay. This may be too specific, but how are you guys at Husky dealing with recent changes in getting organic traction for Facebook? Like appearing on Facebook Watch, your content needs to be at least 3 minutes long. For you, is it worth investing in producing 3-minute videos for organic? Or is it better to just boost and spend on ads, especially for new products or new Facebook pages? All right. So I want to stress my bias here. And my bias is I need to spend on ads even for content that's just for content. Um, it's hard because I'm competing with so many. I'm competing with so many video creators. If you guys didn't realize it, I'm happy that there's a nice gaming revolution where we're getting people to watch more esports and watch people live stream their stuff. But for me, that just ends up competing with my clients, because instead of watching a 3-minute video about why you should buy my product, they're watching a 3-minute video or a 30-minute video of someone playing games. So it's hard. It's hard. It's very competitive, and my mindset again. This is my bias. Is I really need to spend. Um, if I have the advantage of having a big audience, because I have some clients that have big audiences, then great, no problem with me just posting videos for the sake of posting. But when I'm not the preferred, when I have bigger competitors around me, I really have to spend. And that just unfortunately is the nature of Facebook ads now, or Facebook as a platform in general. That they guise it. They guise it in the form of, oh, we want you to see more family and friends content, their content. But in reality, that just means that you had to spend more. And another thing, and maybe this is helpful for you, another mindset to have is, okay, so I know that I can't that my content is going to show up less on the feed. So how can I create content that can be shared, or it's shared where it's share worthy? Okay, so yeah, that's another approach that I like to think. But yeah, for this question, definitely, spending is a must. Unfortunately, what are the differences when you market to millennials versus baby boomers? Um, Baby boomers are not gonna click my stuff, or they're not going to engage. Uh, it's very funny, but they're 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 just observers. They're not active participants on my digital marketing. And what I like to try to do is I like to still, so for both for both ages, but mostly for older people, I really try to drive them to a video or to a blog post, and I try to make it short as possible. So those would be the differences. I see that, at least from my experience, I I have to be a little bit more direct with my baby boomer audiences. And I try not to be too fluffy. I try to get straight to the point. But for my millennial audiences, I get to stretch that out a little bit more. There's a lot more warming up that's required. But yeah, my baby boomers just try to make it fast and snappy. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just rushing through the questions so that I can answer as much as possible. Where should businesses anchor their core content messaging in terms of crafting, branding, and story? Wait, sorry again. Where should businesses anchor their core content messaging in terms? Um, I don't want to overcomplicate the storytelling. It should really just revolve around the problem that a customer has, and how their life will be better if that problem went away. That's really the core story of any marketing, right? People have a problem. I need new furniture. I need to educate my kids. It's too noisy at home. I need new shoes. They have a problem. There's always a prompt that makes them realize a problem, and there has to be a willingness to solve that problem. So the core for me, it should always just be what's the main or the biggest itch that your customer has, and how can you be their back scratcher, basically, or how can you make that itch go away? That's the basic tenet of it. And I feel like as long as your messaging is always anchored to specific problems and not just, oh, I'm hungry, or oh, I need new furniture, right? If it could be very, very specific, that benefits you and you tell a more interesting story. Any tips for LinkedIn marketing? Don't use your company profile, use your personal profile. LinkedIn marketing is seeing the organic reach that Facebook once had, so I would enjoy it because I fully expect that in a few years that's going to be gone when most people are using LinkedIn or many people are using LinkedIn. So um, try to post every day, use your own profile, and put a face to your brand. The company profiles don't work. This is where you have to be you have to be the ambassador for your brand, and that's the best advice I could give. So just post every day, take advantage of the organic reach, and don't use company profiles. Use your own profile. That's still the best way to market your business on LinkedIn. Hi Miggy, do you have any advice on how to communicate customer-centric strategies and campaigns with management? In reference to your comment earlier about examples. Okay, so Lisa, I would assume here that your management is not very supportive, or they might not think like that intuitively. Uh, been there, still doing that, and it's a hard battle, and I won't say that I win it all. I'd lose many times. Um, I always just try to get their agenda, Lisa. I try to understand. I try to understand what is it that they're trying to achieve, and for many times it's productivity and it's sales. So as long, Lisa, that I can show them and I'm able to really share how this idea will lead to a sale, if not now, but eventually, I don't have as hard of a time anymore selling the idea. One of the mistakes that I used to make with clients in my earlier years was that I always just tried to push my agenda. I always just tried to push the no, we gotta educate, no, we gotta inform. But for the decision makers, again, just trying to being empathetic, that's not a problem that they see. They don't see an educational problem. They see a we need revenue problem. And the more that I try to fight against that, the more I don't achieve anything because that's not a problem that they're seeing. So if I did this whole activity with them, the educational part doesn't come up because they don't think about that. So, but at the same time, I don't cave because I have these are my principles, and this is what I want to push. So I try to find a middle ground, and I try to find where I'm able to show them very specifically, though, okay, guys, if we do 5 blog posts and X number amount of people read it, it leads to X amount of sales eventually. And when that becomes the whole picture that you're selling, it becomes easier to sell. Might take some convincing, but again, just practicing empathy here and understanding what are they trying to solve. And if you're doing the customer centric strategies and you're having to convince them that it's important, then oftentimes they don't even see that it's a problem. So you either have to show them that it's a problem, or you have to make them understand that when you solve your problem, they end up solving their problem also. um, Tips on how to avoid targeting unwanted audiences using FB ads. So, so if these are the people who work in the Krusty Krab or works sa puso mo, then I understand. Um, there is a lot of talk about Facebook targeting and what to choose, but there isn't a lot of talk on narrowing and excluding audiences, which I think is very, very powerful and underrated. So for you, Miguel, when you do your targeting, choose your specs, all well and good, and then exclude people also. That I think is very underrated. Exclude. And when you get to your caption part and your creative, try to be as specific as possible so that you can deter people who are not even supposed to interact with you in the first place. Unavoidable. Yeah, I have to say that I've spent so much on Facebook ads already, but it's just hard. People who are not supposed to be my customers still end up interacting. But there are measures that can be done to avoid as much as possible, and that includes excluding people, using the narrow audience tool, and being very specific with my captions and my creatives so that people who aren't even supposed to be engaging in the first place end up not doing. They just they skip past it. They skip past by it. Okay. Unfortunately, last three questions, and then I have to turn it over to Patch. What are the best survey feedback mechanisms you've seen the best engagement in, especially now? How do you encourage people to respond when everyone's so busy? Uh, okay, first and foremost, it's just understanding that many people are busy and not a lot of people are going to answer your feedback forms. Um, so that's the first thing, just accepting that you're not probably not going to get 100% to get back. Um, Second, depending on the setup, an incentive might work. So giving them a discount or giving them a promo code or a special gift if they do. Or one of the more creative ways that I've seen is um, they have to answer the form and they pick a random winner and the winner gets like Gcash or something like that. That would be great. So if you're working in a B2C environment, something scalable like that is good. But if you're working in an environment like us, in a B2B, and we're really not talking to a lot of people, just the one-on-ones, and really pressing for it, I think is really helpful. So yeah, just accept that everyone's busy. Number one, that's just reality. And then number two, there has to be a reason why they're going to give a feedback. All right. So if they get an incentive, great, that's good. But just to share with you, the incentive that I give my clients is that I will service you better if you tell me what I'm doing right or wrong. So that's always a win for them, and I never have a hard time getting feedback from them when that's at stake. Can you please give tips or effective strategies or examples to launch a new food service business in the new normal? Yeah, food is tough. Food is so tough. I would first look at your processes. Don't think of the marketing. To be very honest with you, I think the marketing of a food business is the easiest thing, given everything that has to do with food. So make sure your processes are sound first. Would be the advice that I would give there. Because in the experience that I've had with food, my food clients or my restaurant clients when I was still taking on those kinds of accounts, um, we always had operational problems. There was always our best sellers couldn't be produced in time, or they couldn't come up with promos because operations wouldn't give us that heads up, or even worse, I had no control over the service actually being done in the restaurant. They had no delivery features. They couldn't do food panning, mga ganun na stuff. Those are the harder things to do, and I would focus on delivering that first, and then the marketing comes easier. Okay, so don't come into a food venture with a mindset that oh, my marketing is gonna solve all my problems. Okay, that's definitely not going to work out. The marketing, believe it or not, the marketing is the easiest part when running a food business. It's everything else behind that's so difficult. So when you're launching a new food service, think of your product and your delivery first. How you deliver that product, whether that's offline or online. That's the most important thing, because the marketing is only just going to highlight that. And when that's not solved, nothing in your marketing is going to help you out. Okay, last two questions. How do you have pieces of advice to improve our social media marketing on how we can continue to replicate our best performing content? It's okay. So again, sorry, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I answered this extensively in a analytics workshop that I gave a few months ago, which again we recorded. It's on our YouTube channel. So take a look at that. I talk about it extensively on metrics and how you can use your metrics to make those kinds of decisions. So yeah, it would just be two things. Never run out of content ideas. So use the framework that we talked about so that you have essentially only ideas, and learn to measure what really matters. And yeah, actually, I think that would be better for a different workshop altogether. But if you can't wait for that, we have that in our YouTube channel, and again, it's for free. The name of the talk is Metrics That Matter. So, yeah, tama, Metrics That Matter. If I'm not mistaken. So yeah, check that out. It's free on our website. Uh, okay, sorry. Last question, na guys, and we really have to go because Patch is going to kick me out now of the the webinar. Last, how do you handle negative feedback? That's hard. I'm not going to lie. I still take feedback personally, even if it's not personally. It's hard. It's hard, but it's just part of business. It's just part of business. I walk into a feedback session with a client just with and I try to swallow my pride, and I just have to accept that despite my best intentions and my push and my motivation to do really well for a client, they're almost always not going to see it. They're not going to see it the same way many times, and I just have to accept that we might not agree on it. I might not agree with some of their comments, but I still have to listen to it, and I have to take it in stride. And yeah, it's just take a deep breath, listen with a smile, and even if you don't agree with it, at the very least you hear them out and you try to understand what had led to that comment. Because yeah, that's I at least what I like to tell myself is every negative feedback it's founded on a reality that they experience. Might not be the reality that I experience, but a reality that they experienced. And if I'm being true to my values of being empathetic and being respectful, I will at least give them the chance to explain and give them, give them my full attention and my full understanding. And I listen not to just rebut them, right? Or not just to reply, but listen to understand. And yeah, it's a tough exercise. It's hard. It's especially if you're a business owner, diba? You don't like to hear bad stuff about your business, but no business is perfect. So it's just part of the process, and it makes you better. Okay, yeah, that's all that we have for now. Thank you guys again so much. I hope that I didn't bore you.
No, you
with
did
our
not.
conversation.
Not at all.
Super, super thankful for the time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miggy. Before we just formally close, I just want to remind everyone or ask everyone if they could spend just a few minutes, like just a minute, to fill out our feedback form. This would really keep us going. Doing events like these for free is something that we want to do more. And by giving us your feedback and giving us your input on how we could improve, and also some topics that you want to learn in the future, would really be useful for us as we continue our learning series. One more thing. We have some events. So we have an event coming up next week. It's all about finance. Not a finance that's not highfalutin, I guess. They will be done by my friends from ATBP, or Atibapa, Pinky and Vinny. They will run you through diagnosing your business fitness. They're gonna do it in such a way that will not be overwhelming and highfalutin and nose bleeding for you. So if you are the type of person like me who's allergic to numbers, I recommend that you attend our webinar next week. So you can find that in sparkability.org. So with that, I invite you guys to check out sparkability.org. That's where you signed up for this workshop. And there you'll find our upcoming events and other courses and opportunities that we have done in the past that can help you spark a better normal. In fact, one of the workshops that we did before on design research can really help and supplement this workshop that Miggy did, since he talked about understanding your customers better and empathy and asking the right questions on how to better equip you as you market to your potential or target customers. And before we end, I just want to thank our friends, our partners from Globe for helping make this happen, and of course to Miggy for helping for spending his afternoon with us and sharing super valuable knowledge that I'm sure a lot of people would pay, hundreds and thousands of money for. And we had this for free. So super thank you. And please, if you feel free, I'm sure Miggy would love to answer any of your questions if we weren't able to answer it this afternoon. And if you want to work with him or get in touch with him, please do. How can they get in touch with you, Miggy?
Okay. You guys can add me on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's a great channel also, and I'm always free for emails also. So I'll send my
Sure.
email here in the chat. It's very simple. It's Miggy at huskydigital.com. So yeah, I still am in touch with people that I have done workshops for in the past. So just feel free to email, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yay. All right, so that's awesome. So that ends our super fruitful and valuable session workshop for this afternoon. I hope you had a great time, learned a lot, and I hope that we also see you in our future events. So with that, again, good afternoon, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon/night, and see you again next time. Thanks, Miggy. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Ingat, guys.